Hello. All right, let's do this sound check. Welcome to Hoffcast. I'm ready to do this. Tonight's going to be cool. We'll get right to it in just a minute here. Make sure it's... Yep, sounds good to me. All right, hey, Hoff here. Welcome to Hoffcast. Tonight's episode 25. It's a special edition, not normally on Thursdays, but I'm going to start having people on when I can. And tonight worked out with me and my guest, Real Cosmology, who I'll have on in just a moment here. Just wanted to show real quick, in case you didn't notice. Check it out. You like the new threads? Hoffcast hoodie. It's a, where's that? Adidas hoodie. So it's nice, man. Look at the back. Can you see it? Sick as shit. All right, and just real quick here, I'm going to share Hoffcast.com. Make sure you visit that. That's where you can find out where the next show will be, like tonight's, which is right here. I'm going to go ahead and bring him on. There he is. My guest, Real Cosmology, a very, very smart man, way smarter than I am, and that's why I want him here, because I want to learn from him. So how you doing, man?
Good. I'm wearing this shirt I got online. It's the year of the cucked monkey.
Year of the
2022. He's got like a little condom on his tail. I don't know. I think it is. I don't know if it's the year of the monkey, but if it is, it's definitely a cucked monkey.
That's a good band name, Cucked Monkey, or like a bar maybe. You want to go to the Cucked Monkey? I don't know. It's a gay bar or something. I don't know. But anyways.
Probably.
So how was your day today?
It was all right. I just started a YouTube archive. I'm going to start uploading there because I just found out how to compress videos. Like I found a video compressor. So now I can put them all on Telegram.
Cool.
And so I got an archive on Telegram too.
I was going to ask if you wanted to plug anything here before we get started, like website. I was going to show your at least your YouTube page for everyone here real quick, you know. Which one is it?
I just got a strike for an old Alex Jones video where I'm actually saying he's a hypnotist. I could put my I just put my Telegram
put whatever you want in the chat, man. Put whatever this I'm here to have you on, help you out here, help each other out.
Yeah, the Telegram will link to everything, so it's better for me to put that. And people really need to download Telegram because it's really cool because you can actually download videos that you like. If you put a video on Telegram, anybody can download it, so it makes it spread faster.
Really?
Yeah. Okay, and there's like virtually no censorship. Like if you're calling for violence or some kind of terrorist thing, then that's basically the only thing. But even that is hardly censored. So,
bro, you have a ton of videos, a ton. Yeah. How long you been doing this?
Only a year.
Okay, there it is. There's the end. Man, I'm gonna have to just take a day off, get real stoned, and go through all these. I want to show this one tonight sometime. I want to see the honking one. You gotta let me show it.
Yeah, that one's so fun. I did that one on one take. I thought maybe I'd have to do it a couple times, but I kept myself from laughing, so I actually did it in one take.
Can I play it right now?
Sure.
All right, let's get started with this. Let's show some of your content here for the people. This is my favorite.
All right, Patriots. I have to get something off my chest. All these naysayers in the Canadian trucker rally want to say that honking doesn't make you free. Well, you know what? I message for you. Live in Canada. Breathe Canada. And when I look at them Canadian skies, I see Canadian geese. And they're always free. And they're always honking. My mom would cry. You know how I got up here in this here ISS? I honked my way up here. And if I can honk my way up to the International Space Station, then God, Canada can honk its way to freedom. And this will spread all the way around this beautiful globe. And the whole world's gonna honk its way to the top. And if you think I'm gonna stop at the ISS, you're wrong. I'm gonna honk my way all the way to heaven. I'm gonna sit in my truck at the pearly gates, and I'm gonna honk until they open. And then when they open and I see God Almighty, I'm gonna honk at him too, because he knows my heart. And he's gonna hold me in his arms, and he's gonna tell me, son, you honked your best, son. You honked your best.
Oh my gosh, man. It gets funnier the more I see it, I think. Wow. I love that video so much, man. You honked your best, son.
Yeah, I literally I first kind of did the bit on Crumb's show about the geese, and then when I went to bed that night, like it just kept building. I'm like, I have to make like a official video of it because that's too funny. Like the geese, they're always honking and they're always free.
It's so good, man. I didn't really know you had that much of a sense of humor there for a while. You know, when I first met you, you were the quiet guy. I called you the silent assassin because you were backstage and you just wouldn't say much. But turns out it's quite the opposite. You have a lot to say. Let's get to the chat real quick. Just say hi to everyone here. You think that I say it. I'm not familiar with you, but hey, how's it going? I don't Nilla wafers. Thanks. I guess that's what you mean. I love Nilla wafers and Cheez-Its. I'm white. There's no doubt about that. Nick Bua. Yes, it is Thursday. Thirsty Thursday. What else we got here? And then LaSween Machine. What's up, buddy? Honk it up, brothers. He says Hoffcast merch. Well, it's not available to the public yet. This is a personal one that I had made. And maybe one day, if I have enough people watch, I'll think about doing something like that. But that's not in the cards yet. If people like it, people like the hoodie, maybe I'll think about it one day. But oh, Bane Bear. Okay. All right. What's up, man? I didn't know that was you. How you doing tonight, bro? Cool.
Oh, now I notice it's Bane, the picture.
Yeah, the pic. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I'm like, what the hell is that picture?
I thought it was a weird chicken or something. So, I don't know. Glad you're all here. Yeah, we're gonna have a good time tonight. Speaking of the truckers, me and you were talking I was talking to you in the chat Tuesday on my stream, and you're talking about how you thought maybe the convoy was like a psyop. I want to hear more about about your opinions on that.
Yeah, it's basically kind of like January 6th, where they want you to focus all your energy to a building that doesn't determine your freedom, and to people who also don't determine your freedom. Like, it would work better and cheaper if the truckers just stayed home and protest, and then maybe even like had get-togethers and meetings. But the fact that they're wasting all this gasoline going all this way to honk at like some ancient building with a possible transgender in there, thinking that's where their freedom comes from, it's weird. You know, it's like this guy doesn't really control anything. He's just a son of a, ex-dictator that just wants to play the big government chess game, and to go and honk at him isn't going to do anything. Like, it's just going to piss everybody off that's around you. So if they would just stay home and have these like sort of meetings and gatherings and stuff, then it would work a lot better and the community would like them. But now they're just dancing and honking in the street and keeping everybody up all night. And then they're also stopping like medicine and food and stuff from getting in. And they're putting people out. They're going to start putting people out of work, because if there's no trucks to pick things up, those guys don't have jobs either. So they're really like, it's really going to get people to hate truckers. Like
a couple of things I heard was like 90% of them allegedly are cured. And so what I've heard through the media is that it's a minority, a small minority that's just making a lot of noise.
That's the other thing. It's like if 90% of them already got it, like, why does it matter? It's like you could just stay. It's weird. Like what's going to be worse is the US one that's planned for March 1st, because we don't even have mandates for our truckers. So it's like, what's going on with what's going to happen with that one?
I saw in the news this morning, man, something about how they're scared that there's going to be an American one going around the Super Bowl, causing problems at the Super Bowl this Sunday. Like, okay, I don't know if that's true or they're just projecting, but
yeah, I'll probably miss that because I don't watch the Super Bowl.
I didn't used to, but I'm a good luck charm for my friends now, so I have to. But anyway,
interesting about that. Owen Benjamin just posted something about like overhead. If you look at baseball or football and baseball stadiums overhead, they all look like giant goat eyes. Like it looks like an eyeball, but then of course the field is square and the pupil of a goat's eye is like rectangular. So it was really weird. And then of course the greatest of all time players are called goats.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, it's kind of a blasphemous name because they're saying greatest of all time, which that should be God. But it's always that like inversion, that deification of man.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So sports are evil, you know, is what you're saying?
Not necessarily.
Like not all sports, but like the owned ones, like these big corporations.
Yeah, like the media of it.
Because I mentioned this myself, man. Like I'm a hockey guy. I was watching Blue Jackets tonight, and everything's advertising, and the whole rink is advertising. They got digital advertisements on the ice, digital advertisements on the glass around the rink. Then they're talking about next year they're going to start putting advertisements on the jerseys, and they already started putting them on the helmets last year. It's all just to sell shit, in my opinion. I don't know. I think a lot of it might be rigged myself. Or at least, you know, you can sway the game using officials and whatnot. But I still love watching hockey, and I just like the entertainment value. I mean, give me a break. I watch some old school wrestling on occasion. Just even I know that's fake. It's just the entertainment value of it, I guess, you know.
Yeah, could say it's big rigged.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really watch football. Like I said on my last stream, I'm watching the Super Bowl this weekend because I went to my buddy's house to watch it, and Bengals won, so they want to keep having me over, and they've won ever since. So,
are they using you as a totem or like a good luck charm?
Yeah, exactly. They said even if I died in the next week, they would just bring my dead body over there in the coffin and still have me in their house. So.
Oh man!
I physically have to be there.
Probably is a spell then, huh?
Yeah. Don't get me wrong.
I made fun of it on King of the Hill once.
What's up?
I think they made fun of it on King of the Hill once. It was pretty funny. Where like
that's a good show, man.
At some point they just had like Bobby like sniffing a beer like every single time something happened. Like it was funny.
Nick says the superb owl. Yeah, we know the owl's Freemason.
Yeah, it's the Mystery Babylon.
Speaking of owls, did you ever watch the show Twin Peaks? If not, we won't continue this conversation. I was just wondering.
No, but what's interesting about the title is there's something, I forgot what it was, but there's something about the title Twin Peaks with Scientology that perhaps the show is trying to cover up, because I forgot what it is. There's this, it's like maybe a place, like a location called Twin Peaks, whereas there's some kind of plaque, like with something that with Scientology on it.
I've heard a lot of Twin Peaks theories. I haven't heard this one yet. I want to look into that one more.
Yeah, I'm not sure what state it is, but I remember when I used to research Scientology, there's something that they kept saying about Twin Peaks, this, Twin Peaks, that. And if you tell like a low-level Scientologist about it, they have to be audited, which means they have to be like reconditioned. So like if you ever want to troll a Scientologist, like a low level, you just tell them.
I don't get that opportunity often, but okay,
I think
I'm going to take
something like a plaque that predicts World War III or something weird. It's something along those lines. It's kind of like a Scientologist version of what's that? The Georgia Guidestones.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And you also tell them about the Xenu stuff because that's OT3. And if you tell them and they're only OT1 or OT2, they have to be reconditioned. And that costs them more money. And
So
hopefully
you just talk to them about it, and then they have to
it's
recondition.
like,
Dang.
it's like, yeah, you know that OT3 tells you that Xenu, you know, is this galactic dictator that, you know, took all these aliens and froze them and threw them into these giant volcanoes, then blew them up with hydrogen bombs. And when the souls came out, when the souls came out, they caught them in giant soul catching machines, then put them in these theaters, indoctrinated them with the world religions, and then they sent them out and they infected primitive man. And so when you get audited and you get that little machine, I forgot what they call it, where they measure your thetans, and they do this thing called clearing, where they're claiming they're clearing all these ancient spirits out of you. If you tell them that, they have to get reprogrammed. It's funny.
What is the initial programming?
I'm not sure. I think the initial programming is you go into a
electrodes.
Room. Well, they go into a room and there's like these aluminum things you hold, and they're supposed to measure your thetan levels. I'm not sure if it's actually measuring something and they know what it's actually measuring, or if it's just a fake device.
They did this on It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. They had a cult episode with that stuff. Yeah. They didn't say Scientology really, but it was just like a cult. I can't remember. I haven't seen that episode in a minute, but I remember that.
Yeah, the South Park one though actually does the Xenu thing and gives the exact story. It's really
I've seen
really
that
weird.
one. It's been a long time since I've seen that too, but yeah, I remember that one. That's why Isaac Hayes left, right?
Yeah,
yeah.
That's what I was gonna say, Chef, because he's a Scientologist. I'm like, he had to get reconditioned. Because he was probably, he was probably higher than OT3, I would guess. If not, then that's interesting. And then he had to go get reconditioned, so he probably got pissed off because he had to spend like 60 grand or something.
I know OT is a ranking. Do you know what that stands for?
I'm not operating thetans.
Oh, okay.
So the higher you go, the less thetans you're supposed to have, and those are those supposed alien souls. And so like you have to pay for these processes to get cleared, and some of them are like a couple grand to like 10 grand, and the higher up you go, the more money you pay. But they do things. I don't know if who they work with, but they'll get you successful. That's why a lot of people do it. It's kind of like NASA, where they have to know it's fake, but they know they're going to be successful and wealthy if they just go along with it.
Yeah.
I think
also,
it's why
some people are compartmentalized in NASA or other big organizations too, who don't even get to see that it's real or fake. So they probably still believe it's real if you think that way.
Yeah, those would be like interns and stuff. Like I would say like 90% or more of the people in NASA know it's fake, and they like it. They like being a part. Yeah, they like being a part of the deception. Because I talked to a guy. This is actually some gravy. I talked to a guy who works for Space Force. He used to work for Boeing and NASA, and he was a rocket scientist.
Space Force boys. Hell yeah.
Yeah, he worked on the Orion missions and stuff. So he was making the rockets for NASA. And he told me, like, because I wanted to kind of test him, because the first time I saw him, he's still working for Boeing, and I mentioned some conspiracy stuff, and he was like really drunk at the time, and he just got really like weird and started like saying some demonic stuff. This time it was like a wedding. So it was kind of like a better atmosphere. He wasn't drunk yet. He was just drinking some beers. And I'm like, I got to talk to this guy. So I just went up to him. I'm like, hey, what do you think of this? And I showed him the background of my phone. And he's like, oh, that's badass. And then that was the sign. And I'm like, aha.
And for those who don't know, that's a flat model of the place we live. Correct.
Yeah. And so that was like my sign to keep going. And so I'm talking about stuff, and I've had like a couple beers. So I point at the moon because the clouds are in front of the moon. And so it's got that localized lighting where only one spot of the clouds are lit up instead of all the clouds. And so I'm like, look at that localized lighting. I kept calling it localized lightning because, like 5 or 7 beers in. And I'm like, you're a rocket scientist, 250,000 miles away or 3,000. And without even skipping a beat, he just goes 3,000. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I just keep going, and basically he confirms like that pictures of space are fake because of the radiation or something, which he might still be grappling there, but
Allegedly.
yeah. And then
So I'm trying to not get I believe you. I'm not trying to put you off. I'm just trying to keep my show from getting struck. Go ahead.
Yeah, you probably don't even need to say allegedly, because I mean the guy did work for Space Wars. He still does. And he basically confirmed flat Earth and fake nukes and like the pictures of space being fake. Because if you just know it, like they like to talk to you about it, and they like the deception of it. They like that they're on top and everybody's fooled. Even though I think most people
punch you in the face.
Yeah, I think most people actually don't believe in the moon landing. They'll just say they do because they think everything's listening to them, and they want to be successful too. They want to, you know, metaphorically, they want to believe in Xenos so they can be wealthy, you know.
I'll go on record here and I'll say I 100% do not believe in the moon landing. I've done my research on Stanley Kubrick and whatnot, and just the way everything was done. Have you seen the picture of that module? That thing looks like it was made out of dumpsters and aluminum foil.
It's the method tree for it. Did you know that if you type that into Google, like that's the first image that pops up? If you type in meth street for it, I don't know if it works on the phone or not, but I tried it. You go to Google and type in meth tree for it. The lunar lander shows up as the first picture.
I believe it. It's what it looks like.
And like Owen Benjamin like popularized that term. I think he even coined it. And so he posted it once. He goes, "My life's work is complete." Because when you search it up, like that's the first thing that pops up. Like I don't even deal with the moon landing that much because there's a lot of like truther what is it, like honey traps where they'll have a false debunk. Oh, that's funny.
Bane says moon landing was faker than stripper titties.
Yeah, because there'll be like a truth honey traps. Galen Windsor's someone to look up for the fake news. Oh yeah, that guy. That's interesting. You look up that guy, Galen Windsor. It's actually Gay, ironically, but yeah, like they'll say like, oh, the moon landing is debunked because of this thing. They'll talk about like the reflectors that aren't on it and all that stuff. But those things like don't even matter. If you go outside in a full moon and you look at it at night, there's just how bright it is. There's no way you can land on that and still see or take pictures. Just the brightness you see on Earth. And there's something, the inverse square law, where when it's applied to light, they have an algorithm that you can type in 3,000 miles or 230,000 miles. And if you type in 230,000 miles, it comes out to the light that you would see standing on the moon would be over 1 trillion times as bright as we see the sun from Earth.
So it'd be like going out like like whenever you get snow blind, it'd be like 100 times worse.
It'd literally be like 1 trillion times worse.
Okay.
Like you'd melt. Your skin would just. Have you ever heard of white heat? Where
no, that sounds racist, but let's go.
It's the most powerful heat. It's the most superior of all heat. And so when you drop phosphorus bombs, that's where like the Hiroshima and Nagasaki, where they say they have radiation burns. That's actually white heat. When you drop a load of phosphorus bombs, it can instantly flash this heat that's so intense it just burns a few layers of your skin off, like from the flash. And then like the area around it, like when they bombed Dresden, the atmosphere got above 600 degrees.
Dang,
when they did those phosphorus bombs. So people literally melted into the streets. It's pretty intense.
I have a couple questions for you about these two subjects. What do you think the moon is? Obviously, you think it's way closer to the Earth than what than NASA or whoever says.
Well, I actually can bring up this picture that I made a while back.
Absolutely.
Because interestingly enough, like it is back when I was still smoking some weed. Because my neighbors gave me some stuff, and it was like the first time we tried it, like, and I hadn't smoked in like a couple months. Let's see if I can
That's a
find
good feeling. That's a real good feeling.
Yeah, and my mind just started like doing trippy stuff. And so let me see if I can find it here. It's probably Instagram pictures. But it was trippy. Like I just had this random thought about what the sun and moon might be. Let's see if I can find it. Oh,
I'll read Bane's comment here. I tripped over the ELM. I don't know if I could say that, into a realm where my world was spun because I realized we weren't spinning. Then I woke up and had to get to work because 7-Eleven was a part-time job.
Oh man, this is so embarrassing. I can't find it.
I swear this has never happened to me before.
It's probably in this one. Let me see. Oh, that is insane. Where is it? Maybe I put it in my other folder. Because it was,
by the
way,
way,
it was some gravy on the sun, man.
Well, if you want to keep looking for it, I apologize for not putting your link already in the description. I've been busy the last couple of days, but I'll do it after the stream tonight for anyone who wants to go to your channel or your Telegram or anything like that for sure. Anyone who watches the stream later on, but that information is already in the chat, and if you want to put it in the chat again, you're more than welcome to.
All right.
Be my guest. Be my guest. I think that's a Beauty and the Beast song, right?
So I just
here we go, the deep shit.
What if the sun and moon were ionized gases, each with different masses and energy levels, and these gases create a holographic image in front of them corresponding to the celestial spirit that controls them, fulfilling the command of Yahweh, God Almighty? That is intense.
I think what's interesting about the sun is, space is allegedly a vacuum, and I wondered how anything could burn in a vacuum, but they say it's due to nuclear fission. I looked it up one time. I still don't understand what that means. That's their reasoning for it. What do you think of that?
Well, I think a lot of stuff with nuclear, it's actually just a metaphor for the soul. Like, I think a lot of the whole nuclear weapons is actually to divide the nuclear family, because they claim that they're dividing the atom, dividing man. It's pretty interesting, the symbolism of it. But like,
I've heard this before. You don't know what a nuclear family is. It's like he's saying basically the world right now is trying to create a situation for families to break apart, so you don't really have parents and kids in a strong, tight family anymore. It's everyone hates each other, breaks apart. It's all about division. Am I wrong? Am I wrong on that?
Yeah, that's a perfect definition. Which is interesting because BLM was started by a let's see if I could say this good, a black lesbian small hat. They told her she was of that genetics, so they wanted her to hate her own people, and she vows to destroy the nuclear family, which is like the weakest thing in the black community right now. And it's like, why is the one group that claims to fight for them want to destroy like the last thing that keeps them together? It's pretty insane.
It's like cultural Marxism.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting when you look it up, and some people don't even know that. They're just like,
yeah, it's from,
like, you tell them who the founder is, like, look up the founder of BLM. Like,
oh yeah, one of them got like 4 mansions, multi-million-dollar mansions, and she's like dipped out, like, see you later, I'm done. I want to say hi to a couple people in the chat. Wagon Breath, I know she just subbed to me recently. Thank you very much. I think I subbed back. Hopefully, if I didn't, I will. Cozy Phantom Bear. It seems like someone. Oh, I'll get back to this. Is that someone you know? You seem to know the bears.
Yeah, Cozy Phantom Bear and Nick Buha.
Oh, it's like it's got a wagon there.
Yeah, it looks like a piece of bacon or something.
It does, doesn't it? Looks like a bacon wagon. Yeah. Yeah, good evening, all. Welcome. Welcome to Hoffcast. We're doing an interview for just joining in here with my boy, Real Cosmology. He's awesome. We're getting into some deep dive, and we're already into the deep dive. And let's keep going. Let's keep going.
Yeah, so that's why I think they say the sun's nuclear, because they worship the sun, the Luciferians. So maybe they kind of see the sun as the father, as the all father or something. So he's the nuclear, part of our entire system. Even though that's actually God. God is supposed to be the the nucleus of everything. So it's very interesting. But I think it
Lucifer is like the morning star, right?
Well, actually, that's a inversion of the Catholic Church. Like Lucifer actually is Hallel, which means shining one, and I actually translate it as enlightened one because it was a nickname for a Babylonian king. I don't know if it was Nebuchadnezzar or Belshazzar, but it basically it's describing a king who deifies himself and acts like he knows everything and he's going to take the place of God. And over time, that name, when it turned into Latin, it was Lucifer, and they applied it to the devil because that's basically the spirit of the devil, is trying to replace God and deify man and everything like that. So morning star is actually the Messiah. In Revelation, he says, "I'm the bright and morning star." Probably not like an actual star, but like the first star that appears in the morning, the first light. It's probably a metaphor for that. And so I think the Catholic Church actually started Lucifer being the morning star because they actually, in my opinion, worship Lucifer and they disguise it as Christ.
Well, I thought that's where like the Illuminati come from. Illuminati, you know, is the enlightened ones or whatever, right?
Yeah, it's the spirit of Babylon because the title Pontificus Maximus, which Pope is, comes from Babylon, and it traveled from Babylon to this place called Pergamum, and then it changed from there to the Roman Emperor, and then about like 500 AD or so. I forgot which emperor it was. It started with like a T or something, I think. He's the one who gave the title to the Bishop of Rome, which I think was compromised at that point. And then he became the Pope. And then you got the Pope, Pontificus Maximus, gives the authority to the Holy Roman Emperor. And then the head of the Holy Roman Empire ended up being, what are those guys? How am I forgetting them? The German ones, the German kings, they went and became King of England.
Actually, no, I'm a Hoff, but you know.
Yeah, it was something like that too. Someone in the chat might know, but I think King, what's his face, the one who was King George, the one that was king during the whole American Revolution hoax, like he was one of these guys. And so I think that England's kind of like the head of that beast, like because I get into like Revelation with it, where like the Pontificus Maximus is one of the heads to this dragon. They give their authority to the beast, which is Europe, and
yeah, a lot of royal bloodlines and stuff, right? Like royal bloodlines have a lot of influence on that sort of thing. I hear there's like 13 families that run everything. Of course, 13.
Yeah. And it's not the Habsburgs either. It's something. It's a capital or something in Germany. It's really bugging me. But yeah, like basically, I see the first beast as that Holy Roman Empire carried on through the European Union and then headed by, of course, England with the London and all that. And then I view like America as the beast that rises out of the earth. And does everything on behalf of the first beast and praises it, you know, because America kind of praises that European, you know, Catholic heritage and World War I and II and all that. And what is it? If you look up the original U.S. flag, it's the same flag as the East India Trading Company.
Did not know that. I thought Betsy Ross did some stars and stripes or something.
Yeah, that was like the edited version, but it was basically the same, 13 stripes and everything. The blue part, except it had the Union Jack on it, and then it changed like in the 1800s to like a circle of stars. But even then, like it's supposed to resemble a constellation, which are bound stars. And I think they did a circle at first because even though I don't believe in the Book of Enoch or anything, I think they're modeling it after that supposed pack on Mount Hermon of the fallen angels. That's where you get it's weird, like because it even gets into Q because where we go one, we go all was basically the oath that they took. Those fallen angels.
Hold on right there. Hold that thought, please. I'm just going to say hi to the chat real quick. We got a lot of people watching tonight, and I love all you people. I want to say hi to Francis Sage, Marxist. Yeah. We'll Say hi to Hive. How you doing tonight? Mitz, good to see you. Hope you all are having a great evening. We're having a great show here tonight. I'm going to let him get back into it because I'm learning a lot right now. I'm trying to absorb this. I'm trying to be as spongy as I can right now, bud. Just keep going, all right? If I have some questions, I might try to get in there and ask you, but keep going.
Yeah, so the American flag is basically bound stars, and then the stripes, like the other translation where it's like by his wounds we are healed when it talks about Christ. It's actually other translations by his stripes. So stripes are actually wounds. So it's fallen stars wounded forever when they say stars and stripes forever. It's pretty interesting. It's all star worship. And so it's interesting that the America could be the beast that rises out of the earth, because they deal with like the television and media, and all the stuff you get for film comes from Earth, the iron ore and all that magnetic stuff. And then with the smartphones and stuff, they're made with rare earth minerals, and China owns like supposedly like 80% of it or whatever. But it's interesting, like all of our stuff, like most of it in America has to do with coming out of the ground. And then most of like Europe and the UK, it's all about sea trade and stuff like that. And so the first beast comes out of the sea and the second beast out of the land. It's pretty interesting.
Sounds like a Godzilla movie.
Well, hey,
quick,
that could be what Godzilla. That could be what Godzilla is a metaphor for. Is the beast that rises out of the sea, and it's, it destroyed Japan.
Did I just make a point? Oh,
yeah,
that's rare. I do.
It destroyed Japan, right? This beast that comes out of the sea.
I wanted to say real quick, my buddy Brandon here, he's a personal friend of mine in real life. He's the reason I'm going to have to watch the Super Bowl this weekend, is because I'm his good luck charm. So cheers to you, my buddy B. Glad you're here tonight and glad you like the hoodie. Anyways, I'm sorry. I just had to say hey to him. I'm glad to see him here. Go ahead, man. Godzilla. Are you a Godzilla fan?
I used to be, because I don't really watch TV or movies or anything anymore for like the longest time.
Do you have like a favorite movie when you did? Because I don't watch a lot of TV anymore either. I don't really watch I don't watch many movies in the past few years. I want to see the new Jackass, but I don't. That's not like a plot,
Yeah, like unfortunately, I used to like Jurassic Park and stuff until I learned about fake dinosaurs, so I got kind of mad at it. So the ones that used to be my favorite was like Jurassic Park, Mars Attacks. You ever seen Mars Attacks?
Oh yeah, it's a great movie, dude.
What's that other one? Yeah, Rat Race. Rat Race.
Oh, dude, yeah, that's a good one too. That was like one of the first DVDs I ever bought. I think it was like the second DVD I ever bought. First one was Mystery Men.
Yeah, the other one was Godzilla, but it was the American version. Once I started figuring, like, getting more into Godzilla, like I started seeing that the American version was really lame.
You talking about the Broderick one, Matthew Broderick, the one from like 99 or whatever? Yeah.
It was like Soy Boy Godzilla or something.
I had a ball python growing up, and I named Godzilla. Did you ever see Shin Godzilla, the one that came out a few years ago that was like Japanese?
I think I saw pictures. It looked kind of strange, though.
No, it was good, man. It was. I mean, I'm not a Godzilla guru or anything like that, but of the few I've seen, it was definitely the best one I've ever seen, because it was all about the monster and like how it was attacking, and everyone was up against that. It wasn't like, oh, he's got to fight other monsters and he's the good guy. Nah, Godzilla was the bad guy,
Yeah, the last movie I ever watched in the theaters was Godzilla 2016. I saw it in 3D at like something like 9 or 10, so I was there till like midnight. And it was a really good movie. I mean, a lot of these movies are well made. I just think there's a lot of spells behind them, so I don't like to, expose my mind to that stuff.
Yeah, everyone was pissed off Walter White died in the first like 10 minutes of that movie.
Yeah, me too. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, that's kind of why I watched the movie. One, because it was Godzilla, and then I had watched Breaking Bad before that.
Yeah, Breaking Bad was hot around that time. Yeah, I think it just ended or something like that, or is about to. I don't know. My memory's getting rusty, getting old.
Like for the last couple of months, I had been watching certain movies on Odyssey just because I wanted to do some breakdowns. But besides that, like, I don't watch any movies or TV. And I do it because I don't want other people watching something if it's too like mind control. Like the 2001 The Space Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't suggest anybody watch that movie.
It was a terrible movie.
Yeah, if they go to my my Telegram link,
boring.
Yeah, if they go to my Telegram link, then they can see my short review where I put these things. I can look at that too right now because there's these points I made that are very interesting. Where
no, that's Kubrick, right?
Yeah, that's the one he did literally like a year before the fake moon landing.
Yeah. You've seen all the footage with like the Planet of the Apes and the way he designed the backgrounds for the moon landing and stuff, right? They used the same technology for that.
Oh, he did Planet of the Apes too?
Yeah, like was it Planet of the Apes? Yeah, the original.
Or maybe you're thinking of the ape scene in the 2001 movie.
Yeah, I'm an idiot, dude. You're right. Yeah, I just put those two together. I'm an idiot. But you're right on that. But it was the same kind of thing where they used a projection. They had a real set, and then they had a projection screen behind it, and they project the background onto that screen. And if you look at like the footage from the moon landing, it's the same damn thing.
Oh man, I'm looking at this video because I made a video with all the monkeys jumping around the black obelisk, and I just slowly like have a little PNG of a Samsung like smartphone going up to the frame as they're doing it, and it goes right next to the monolith and looks exactly like it. But yeah, it's basically a whole MK.
You can show any videos you want to show, man. I'm cool with that.
Well, I guess if I show it, it probably won't show sound, so it shouldn't do anything. Let me see. Basically it's like MK Ultra.
Projection. Hello, Popeye. How you doing?
It was like MK Ultra with the frequencies that they played in that movie and the music and the long drawn out scenes. It was really hard to watch. But like the graphics on that thing was insane. Like, and basically, let me see if I can find it here. This is gonna be funny. Oops, here we go. Basically, here's like all the monkeys and stuff, and they're jumping around the obelisk. See, you can't hear that, right?
No, I can't hear it.
Okay, good. And it's just this phone that like goes up slowly until it's right next to the monolith, and it looks exactly like it. There's a reason they made these phones the way they did.
Oh,
that's hilarious. What else do I got here?
So what are the obelisks exactly? These monoliths, whatever you want to call them, these structures. Remember when they started popping up all over there like a year or so ago? There's steel ones.
That's a little complicated. I'm gonna try to explain it as best I can. But have you ever seen the movie Donnie Darko?
Yes, I love that movie. Yes.
Yeah, that was actually a really good movie.
I haven't seen it in a minute, but I do love that movie, so I should know what you're talking about. Let's go.
Yeah, even though it was really weird, like there was something like this is why I don't watch movies. Like there was something really entrancing about it, and I really, really liked it. It was really weird. And so basically there's a part in the book where it talks about when one of these like, because basically the guy ends up being like this weird time travel loop where when an object enters from another dimension, like it causes this like rift or something for a certain amount of days. And then when the days are up, like the person being Donnie Darko in this situation, like somehow gets killed or just disappears. And there's just weird stuff in it. And so basically it called it like this object, and it just randomly enters. And then after a certain amount of days, it disappears. And it tells you that you're inside of this time rift. And then when the time rift is over, it'll be as if nothing ever happened and everybody will forget it. And it's
I'm gonna
so
be honest
weird.
with you. I know what you're saying, but to anyone who hasn't seen the movie, they're probably about like, "What are you talking about?" I get what you're saying. Yeah, the movie's like about that for sure.
So
Jake
I
Gyllenhaal,
think
I remember going to his teacher and asking him about time travel and being like, "I can't talk to you about that." You know, I remember him yelling at Patrick Swayze, calling him out for being a pederast. You know, that was a good scene.
And of course the guy is like kind of Trump looking, but anyway, the motivational speaker guy, you know, because there's so much stuff in that movie. Like it's a total Trump movie too. Q, it's all a Q movie. Like because I kind of view Q as
before
like
Q.
Yeah, like it's Q is basically like a satanic antichrist death cult, in my opinion. Like that's
I would
been
probably agree with you.
Subliminally put into movies and books and TV shows for probably hundreds of years with the books, and then ever since TV started.
Like
Like
Q has been around for hundreds of years.
I've
only heard about it for like the past year.
The theme of it, like there's characters that will pop up that are called Q, or like if you've ever seen that old Western show, there's this old Western show from like the late 50s, and it's in black and white, where this man named Trump comes to the town saying that the world's about to end. He's the only one that can help him, and he needs money so that he can build a wall, and he's scamming them all. And it's the weirdest thing. Just I don't know how you look it up because I forgot what the TV.
I've heard that one in particular, but I heard the book of the time travel or the travels of Baron Trump or something like that. That was written like back in the 30s or something.
Yeah, so there's a weird thing, and it ties into what I told you on the after show about Alex Jones and his views of interdimensional beings, and how he's talking about like a lot of this stuff, like these high up elite believe that they're getting messages from interdimensional beings, and it's pretty intense. Like,
do you believe that?
I would have to say yes, because like the Bible speaks of the sun, moon, and stars pouring out speech day to day and pouring out knowledge, and that they have a voice that goes throughout all the earth, and there's nowhere where their voice is not heard. Or there's another translation where it says their voice goes out but nothing is heard. And that's why I think the actual translation is, because NASA will tell us, even though I know NASA lies, like the mainstream science about stars is that they're releasing all the different spectrums of light, including radio frequency. And there's a story I had, because I had this big book of like LA Times front page for like 100 years, and it starts from like 1880 and goes to 1980. And in like 1934 or 33, it's probably 1933, scientists were claiming they have decoded the stars. And I don't know where that story went. And our modern science tells us that these things are releasing radio frequency signals, and we're hearing each other right now and seeing each other right now just with radio frequency signals.
Hey, you broke up there for just a second. Can you repeat the last sentence?
That's interesting. We are seeing each other. We are seeing each other right now and hearing each other through radio frequency signals.
Mm-hmm.
And they say radio frequency waves are coming from the stars. So is it just audio, or do some of these things have video if you actually have the capacity to decode it? Or can they decode it from a computer, or are they receiving these signals somehow, spiritually? It's really, really weird. And I believe that's...
So can I take you back just a second? You said radio frequencies come from the stars. I don't know enough about stars to debate that, so I didn't know that.
Yeah, they have like these stations on top of mountains and stuff. Some of them are just for certain waves. Like there's a station, I think, in South America or something like that, just for gamma rays. And they're collecting this data. Who knows what it is? You know, they're not gonna tell you. And then after these stars are allegedly decoded, you have World War II, and you have all the craziness that happened after that, and how America just somehow became like the world police. Did you know that we've never had a declaration of war, an official declaration of war since World War II?
What do you mean? Like, but we've been in wars.
Exactly.
In fact, I was just reading. I've been reading this book recently, Charlie Robinson, Octopus of Global Control. It's pretty good. I don't know if you know about macroaggressions, Charlie Robinson, but he was talking about how, like, in the entire history of America, there's only been like 7 years we haven't been in war or something like that. I don't know if that's the right number, but it's a very low number of years that we haven't been in a war.
Yeah, we've been at war, but they haven't since World War II ever had a formal declaration of war. Some theorize as a loophole around war crimes. That's why the U.S. is never charged with war crimes, because they technically have never declared war since World War II.
Yeah, of course, we're always the good guys, right?
Yeah. So it's very interesting to think about like this star stuff, because what if they did figure something out? Because the Bible says that all the hosts of heaven worship God. So if they actually were able to decode something, I can imagine what they're hearing. And I can imagine that if they're wicked, they don't want anybody else knowing that.
Sounds like them Tom Hanks movies, Da Vinci Code.
Yeah, because if you
Angels
think
and
about
Demons, Inferno.
Yeah, like if you think about it and you think about like space, like the moon landing and all this NASA stuff being fake. And then you think about like nukes being fake, and you're like, well, they have all these institutions for nuclear stuff. They have all these institutions for NASA and space exploration. And you just imagine like how many people that is. It's like we're in real deep. And the only real solution is to find some land and grow your own food and form communities and wait for Babylon to fall, because there's no saving Babylon. Like, it can't sustain itself. I just read a story today. The head of like nuclear waste disposal is headed by this like trans guy who like dresses in drag and stuff. It's like, and our health minister is also trans, and a lot of other people like openly. And it's weird. Like, it's gonna get to a point where, you can't. It's gonna be hard for like these trans people to actually do the hard work, like to be the hardcore engineers at Lockheed Martin or something, or the hardcore builders. They're mostly weak people. Like this system can't sustain itself. Union people, truckers, various people we need for our infrastructure are just dying at like 60 now. Whether they got the medical thing or not, like they've just died because they're just, it's whether you think it's stress or their diet or their lifestyle, it's like my friend,
all the crap that the world gives us now in our lives, everything from medications being prescribed, and Mountain Dew and fast food, and smoking cigarettes and all that stuff.
Yeah, and like my friend, I got a friend who works he's an engineer, and he does like contracts with Lockheed Martin specifically and stuff like that. And he's like, I can't even contact him right now. I haven't heard from him in like a month or more, because he's just so worked, because they need him, and and the people in his field are getting less and less. And so it's it's kind of sad, because I kind of miss him, but it's like he's working, he can't stop work. He just gets all this work, and they need him, and there's nobody else to do the work. And the ones they have like are really dumb, and they can't even like fix the plumbing. Like, he had to go to a place and fix all the plumbing, because somebody came in, some contractor or something came in before him and totally screwed it up. And so he and his friend, and
was that at Joe Osteen's place?
No, it was somewhere like out of his state. somewhere in the East Coast, and so he's like, he just hasn't been able to we used to talk a lot, but the less people these guys have, like the more they have to send him out to do stuff, and it's crazy.
Here's a question I wanted to ask you about. Do you believe, do you follow or anything like that, like astrology? Anything like, I mean, we've been talking about stars and whatnot, about like more biblical, and I wanted to ask you the next question after that kind of relates to it, but like, do you follow astrology? Do you believe any of that kind of thing? Like people say about the age of Aquarius or whatever?
Well, I don't follow astrology, but I know there's something to it, but it's something that God prohibits for your own good. Because like in an after show last time, we were talking about like free will and stuff. And I kind of view it as like dualistic. Like this is why the elite, the so-called elite, believe in duality and what's the other one? I can't think of it right now. But like duality and order and chaos. So I kind of see God's plan as two roads. You have the road to chaos and the road to order, or you have the road to righteousness and the road to wickedness. And if you go on God's road, righteousness and order, then it's like you submit your will, and will isn't even what people think, in my opinion, but it's like whatever your choice, whatever your will actually is, you submit it to God, then you're predestined. And it feels like you have no free will, but it works out every time, and you're happy in the existence you're on. And then when you want to be rebellious and you think like, no, everything's my choice, everything's my will, you end up going to the road of darkness and chaos. And that's why a lot of these guys, they worship chaos. Owen Benjamin did a bit a while, the other day.
Good stuff right here.
Yeah, Owen Benjamin did a bit the other day of jazz music, where he's saying jazz music is like chaotic. It's the mind of the grabbler, where it's just there's no real order. Some people could think it sounds nice, but if you really
sorry.
Yeah, then like the piano.
I hate jazz.
Yeah, if you look up like piano jazz and stuff, like it's very chaotic and random.
Yeah, it pisses me off. I'm like, what are you doing? You just diddly do.
Yeah, so that's like a good musical
wearing those
example.
dumb hats,
Yeah, and that's like the good musical example of chaos, where it's like they choose the road of chaos and their music sucks and they hate everybody and themselves, and they think they're free because they're in that realm. They've chose that realm to have this illusion called free will, and then everything's chaotic, and then it leads to destruction. But if you just submit to God and you choose that path, I think that's the only real choice we have. And then it's like we give him our quote free will, this what I think is kind of an illusion, and then everything just feels predestined. It's so weird, where you're like, did I actually choose that, or it just happened because it had to happen? And then that's where you get into the synchronicities and all that stuff, and it gets very, very interesting.
Dude, I experience synchronicities constantly. Like sometimes I think I'm psychic or something or whatever. I just see the similarities or connections, all kinds of things like that. By the way, real Barb's gonna be listening on the way home. So yeah. I've experienced a lot of this stuff lately with what you'd call synchronicity. It's not even stuff that would be what I would call important things. Like, are you familiar with Christopher Walken's what was his name? Ed something, Trivial Psychic on Saturday Night Live, where he would just touch people, and then like he'd be like, he'd touch Adam Sandler, he'd be like, wow, today you're gonna eat a pistachio. It's gonna be very hard to break. It's gonna hurt your teeth. And Adam Sandler's like, just the one nut, and he's like, yes. He's like, okay, thanks for the tip. Okay, that's what I do with the synchronicity. Is like, it's always things that aren't really important or anything like that. But like for instance, I whenever I was talking about like the M&M's stuff going on a couple weeks ago on my stream, the next morning going to work, I'm listening to Tom McDonald's song, and he says Eminem in the song. That's not the crazy part, all right? He said the word Eminem while I was looking at a vehicle that had stickers of Eminem on the back window, and the license plate said something like "loves M&Ms" or something. I took a picture of it, and I took and the radio at the same time. It was insane. Like all
Yeah,
this
that
Eminem
stuff
stuff
happens
going
to me
on. I
all
was
the
like,
time
what?
too.
I mean, it's completely pointless. And I mean, I don't know what it means. Some people say like, oh, you might be on the right track or something, or you're in cohesiveness with the universe or something like that. But I don't know. I just notice those things all the time, and it gets weird. You ever seen the Truman Show?
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I'm in the Truman Show.
Yeah, I did a breakdown of that one too.
I'm gonna check that out. Is that on your YouTube?
No, it's just on Telegram. Let me see. I just did a quick one. Or maybe I did that one first. Where basically I put a picture of the Time magazine that they put in there. I just put basically the theme is simple. Non-government corporate entities are allowed to use extraordinary methods of control and abuse because the majority of the citizens accept it and want to be a part of it. The audience had just as much of a God complex as the producers of The Truman Show because they watched and enjoyed it, just like television viewers in the, quote, real world. That's how they kept it going, because they had all these people's will in there. And it showed clips in the movie where some people actually snuck in and tried to tell Truman that he was in the show.
Yeah. Don't you think it's
that's
weird they use the moon as the base for it? Like,
yeah, that's their weird female deity thing. Like that gets into Alex Jones when he was on Joe Rogan, the episode 9/11.
of course.
He claims that the moon is actually a giant ball of water, and that's what the so-called elite are going to use to get out of here. Like they're going to use the water and turn it into fuel to get to the next level. And it all goes into like their mother goddess worship, where it's literally they're going to break the water of this womb, and it's going to blast them into the next level of evolution in their mind. It's really, really intense. Like I think it's not bad to watch that episode if you can find it. Actually, if you go to my Telegram, anybody watching, and I think I still have the link. Oh, never mind. I could put the link a second time. If you go to my Telegram and go to my pinned comments, you'll find like where you can actually DM me, and I could send them that.
Yeah, hey, plug your stuff for a second. I'm gonna take a quick bathroom break. I'll be right back. All right, bud. You just keep going. I can still hear you. I got you. I'm wireless over here. I'm like a robot.
All right. So basically, I have Real Cosmology YouTube. Then my backup is Real Cosmology Bear. I also have a church page on YouTube called White Rhino Church of the True Cosmology. That name was actually created on a live stream. I know it sounds a little weird, but at first people were saying to call it the Real Cosmology Church, but I didn't really want that because it sounded like it was a church of me. But I wanted it to resemble something with Flat Earth. So we kind of figured that out in the chat. And then I have a page called Izzy and Chris, the N symbol. Nothing's really been done there yet because it was supposed to be me and my Muslim friend just talking about stuff in the Middle East and Christianity and the Quran. But that hasn't really took off yet. And then I just made today a YouTube page called Real Cosmology Archive, where I'm going to archive all my live streams. And then there's Twitch. I got real_cosmology_bear on Twitch. That's where I'm eventually going to stream when I play the Metroid games, which I'm only going to do once because I don't really like video games. I just want to kind of get into, give those kind of people who play video games a chance to come to my page. So I'm going to do Metroid Prime and Metroid Prime 2 Echoes on Twitch. That'll be maybe in a month or so.
I love the
Well, I
first
played
one.
it a
Second
bunch of
one's
times, so
tough.
it'll probably be easy for me.
Have you played Dread yet?
No, I haven't played video games in
Oh yeah, that's right.
7
I'm in like the
years.
last hour of Dread. I got to switch. I'm like I haven't played it in like a month, but I got to like the last hour, got lost, and I need to get back and finish that thing, man.
Yeah, the only other pages I have is BitChute, which is just either real cosmology or real_cosmology. And then the Instagrams, everything, most of the stuff that you need is going by on the bottom of the screen right now.
Nice, man. I don't know how you do that. It's magic.
Yeah, in OBS, you just type something in, and then you put filters, and you put the scroll filter on it. And it'll just scroll. It only lets you do a certain amount of words, though. But
best I can do is this. There we go. That's the best I can do, and it looks like shit because I don't have an actual green screen. Maybe I'll get one day, but now I'm just kind of like fading into the nothing. Ah! Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, green screens are relatively cheap. It's just the lighting. The lighting might be like a little expensive, but yeah, the one I got.
I got a lamp right here, dude. Look how bright that is. I got a lamp right.
Yeah, the one I got was only like $20, but the more expensive part was I made 2 like tower type things out of PVC pipe to hang it on, so that in case I have to move it anywhere, I can just literally put it anywhere in the house.
I've looked at them before. I noticed the green screens themselves. Yeah, they're like pretty cheap, but then you look at the setup, you get the rig for it, and it's like another $100. Like,
Yeah,
you
can
just
also
get some sticks outside and duct tape them together and do it.
You can also get those little hooks with the screws on it and just screw it into the ceiling and then hang it on the hooks.
Okay, that's a good idea. That is a dang good idea. Hey, I'm glad I had you on tonight. So yeah, definitely go check out all of his stuff. Like I said, whenever the stream is over tonight, I will put a lot of your information in the description for the people who watch the show after it's aired and want to check you out as well. I like the community aspect of things, and a lot of the reason that I like to have people on is because not necessarily that we see the same way, but I feel like we're all on the same team. We might not always think that everything is the same way, but we got to put those differences aside and realize that we're all just fighting to find the truth, no matter what it is. And I can learn from you, you know what I mean? And I don't know how many people can learn from me, but that's why I like having people on. And you're like just a well of information, man.
Thank you.
I've had more viewers tonight than I've ever had on any of my shows, so thank you. You're the star, dude. You're the star.
Yeah, that's why I like talking to people, just anybody, because somebody I follow on Instagram, they were doing a random live and talking about all kinds of different stuff because they're in like the Orthodox Church, so we're kind of going back and forth about what I think about the Orthodox Church, and all of a sudden, like
synchronicity. That was my next question, by the way. So go ahead.
Well, because we started getting into like history stuff, like extra biblical stuff. And I was like, oh, I think that Thoth, because I started saying, I said that I think the Roman Catholic Church is to control like the Roman pantheon. Because when you get into it, it's very, very paganistic. And then like the Orthodox Church, the Greek Orthodox is for the Greek pantheon. And then the Coptic Church is for the Egyptian pantheon. And so that's how we got into like Egyptian stuff.
There's a Coptic church right down the road from me, like next block over.
Yeah. A lot of people there are nice too. Like I met a guy a long time ago. Well, not that long ago, like a year ago. He used to be the security guard at the Albertsons I go to. His name was Magdi, and he was a Coptic Christian. You know, it is very idealistic. They think
they had the Egyptian festival there during the summer this past year. Yeah, they had like grills out there selling stuff. I don't know. I didn't go there. I was just walking my dog past it. And,
yeah, I'd probably just go there to meet hot Egyptian women. But
all right.
And then all they would need is a good man, because it's like they're very idealistic, where they think that carrying around pictures of a saint somehow brings them good vibes or something. And then like they do weird rituals. So basically, I started talking to him how
Weird rituals. I want to hear more about that.
well, like just like the incense stuff, just a bunch of
Oh,
very materialistic, fleshly things. And then
okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
and then so we started getting into like Egyptian stuff, and I was like, well, I think Abraham was deified by the Egyptian as Thoth, because I believe that he brought arithmetic to the Egyptians and the Phoenicians, and the Phoenicians to the Greeks, and then so on. And there's other historians, like older historians, back when historians were actually good. That also believe that
not the guys on Ancient Aliens.
Yeah, those guys are just a cover up of history. But
hey, I'm trying to get my hair like the guys. All right, I'm trying to get it high up like that, closer to God, baby.
Oh yeah, that's aliens. That guy.
Yeah, that guy, Giorgio Tsoukalos. Yeah, good guy. Good
guy. So basically, I was like, I think they deified him as Thoth. And then like it was weird. We were talking, and then I realized I'm like, because the Egypt. In the Bible, it's Mitzrayim, because Mitzrayim is the descendant that started Egypt, or yeah, something like that. And so, or that was his name, like because it was a Cush, or no,
Ham. Cush.
Ham. He had son Cush, Put, Lud, and Mitzrayim, and Mitzrayim turned into Egypt later, because Mitzrayim means double siege. And Egypt means Temple of Ptah. It's Ptah. And Ptah is a like a grand architect type god. And so I saw it as like Noah, like a deification of Noah, because Noah built the ark and all this stuff. And that's where you get like basically the foundation of Freemasonry, because it comes out of Egypt and it tries to absorb anything that is good knowledge or spiritual wealth. That's why some people will argue and they'll say, oh, the Jews are behind the Freemasons, or the Christians are behind the Freemasons, or the Muslims are behind the Freemasons, when the truth is it's actually Egypt. And when Judaism was, of course, the first one they tried to absorb into there, that's why they have the Solomon Temple, because Solomon was wise and his wisdom literally went throughout the entire earth, and kings and princes came to him for wisdom. So that was the first sort of absorbing of something into Freemasonry. And then when Christianity came in, then you have all that wealth of knowledge, and then you get the Templars and all these people, and they're taking it into the Freemasonry. And then of course, Islam rises up, and they have some interesting stuff in the Quran. Like I agree with a lot of the stuff in the Quran. It'll surprise people if they actually read it. That's not as bad as they think. It's just a lot of the extra stuff like hadith and all that stuff, and the mystics in Islam is what really muddied the waters. But then that was the other thing, and that now Freemasonry has become this amalgamation of like all these different wealths of knowledge, but they invert it and they take it over. That's how you get the Shriners. Freemason, the Islam sword.
Yeah, the Shrines. They wear the fezzes, right? And they ride around the little cars in the parade. That's the ones that around me do anyway. I don't know. They're old. Yeah. They're really old.
And so you can tell what somebody believes by who they think the Freemasons are. Like if they hate the Jews, then they'll say Freemasonry was started by the Jews. If they hate the Muslims, then they'll say it was started by them. And if they hate the Christians, they say it's started by the Christians, and the Christians are, well, the Bible's there just to manipulate you. That's why it bans the most manipulative thing in all history, images. Somehow that makes sense. It's really interesting.
I once heard that like Israel, the name, the way they got their name is from like the gods Isis, Ra, and El, I guess, like Egyptian gods.
Yeah, but see, that's
together. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah. Well, that's an inversion because that's how it's pronounced in English.
Oh, okay. Well, fair enough.
In Hebrew, it's Yisrael, so it's Y
like Yahshua.
Well, that's the Messiah or Joshua.
You're
But yeah,
here to teach.
yeah, in Hebrew it's Yisrael, so it has nothing to do with ISIS or anything, like unless ISIS started with a Y, which it doesn't. It's just people who, like, because I've seen it before where they let their hatred of Jews go to the point where they're like, and they say they're Christian, they'll be like, oh, the whole Old Testament is made up and actually worships the devil. Because of that hatred, they let it grow, and then they show that their hatred actually was towards the Bible and had nothing to do with Jews.
Interesting. I did not know that was a thing, actually, at
Yeah,
all.
like,
I did
yeah,
not
it
even
gets,
know that was a thing.
yeah, it gets pretty dark. Like, some of them write books and they claim that the holy name of God is actually the devil, and it gets really dark.
I mean, I've heard that kind of thing before, but I haven't like heard the whole thing about the Old Testament and whatnot. That was the vengeful God, right?
Yeah, well, it's the same God. Like, he's still vengeful if you're wicked. You know, it's not like he changed and was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna do anything to wicked people anymore." It's like,
God, you changed.
Yeah,
I don't even recognize you anymore. It's like,
so like a good example of that would be the French Revolution, because they claimed, because of course the Jesuits were bad and corrupt, but they wanted to use that corruption in their hatred towards God. And so when they kicked the Jesuits out, which I think was a good thing, they showed that their hatred was actually towards God and the Bible through the Jesuits as like a scapegoat, because they dressed up a donkey as a priest with like the mitre and everything, which is like this big golden staff or something. And they tied a Bible to the tail and let it drag it through the mud. And so you start to see that it's not really the Jesuits that they hated. It's God, and they were just using the Jesuits as a you know, a boogeyman.
Scapegoat? Goat?
Yeah, scapegoat, boogeyman.
We're talking about
it's
goats
interesting.
earlier. The Baphomet,
yeah.
you know, solve and coagulate, whatever the shit that is.
Yeah, dissolve and coagulate. It's the same. It's kind of the same as order and chaos, where it's like you dissipate something and then you bring it together, or you dissipate it and just wear it out, which is interesting because the Antichrist is said to weary out the saints of the Most High. Sorry, the true followers of God.
So let me ask you this real quick. This is something if you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, that's fine. You're obviously a believer in God or a higher power, but I don't know if you participate in organized religion. It seems like you don't like organized religion, and that's kind of how I am, to be honest with you. I got more of a personal relationship with a higher power, but I don't like go to church. I try to read the Bible, you know, when I can, and you know, try to do my best in life. You know, I wear the cross, you know, under here, and I try to do my best as a person, but you know, try to love. But I don't think I'm the perfect person. I don't even know if I call myself a Christian. I guess so, because I guess that's kind of what I believe. But I don't go to church. Is that acceptable? Like, if you don't want to answer this, it's fine. But I was just wondering how you worship, I guess, if you want to.
Yeah, like I used to be in a church, and that whole organized religion thing is kind of an aversion, because it's like, well, do you want disorganized religion? So basically, the false church is disorganized religion, or if you want to say organized disorganized religion, because they are organized but for wickedness, and they always try to invert the Bible. So I mean, if I could find a church that actually doesn't make me think that, you know, they're controlled somehow,
I think that's my problem too, man. Yeah, I think that's my problem as well.
Basically, any church with a 501c3, the tax exempt thing, like, I don't trust it, because if they do something that the government doesn't like, the government threatens them by saying they'll take it away. And I think the Messiah, when he said, you know, give to Caesar what is Caesar's and to God what is God's, he means, you know, pay the taxes to Kaiser. That's what you're supposed to do. He's the one who distributes the gold. His face is on it. So if he asks for a tax, that's what it has to be. And so I think that's kind of the grabble in it, is that they want to tempt them with not paying taxes when the Messiah tells them, give to Caesar what is Caesar's. And these people, they won't give to Caesar and they won't give to God because they sit there in these churches inverting everything in the Bible. So I would view myself as a non-denominational Zionist, which is actually the translation.
Did you say Zionist?
Messianist.
Oh, Messiah. Okay, you cut out for a second. I thought you cut out. Seriously, sometimes you get a little bit blurry. I can tell you say for the most part. You're clear mainly, but every now and then you cut out a little bit. I thought you said Zionist, which I was going to ask you about that in a minute. But I see what you say, Messianist.
No.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's Messianist, basically followers of the Messiah, and then it turned into Christianity, which I don't. I'm fine being called that, but I'm basically like a fundamentalist and sort of puritanistic, but that doesn't mean like judging others. People sometimes think being puritanistic means you have to judge other people, which it doesn't. It just means I keep myself to a certain standard, and if somebody asks me for any advice on it, that's what I'll advise. Like I advise people not to have any kind of materialistic idols or to watch any TV or any movies.
I'm trying to get better at this, and I have been getting better at those things because I understand. I'm not gonna lie, man. If I can be just real quick here, quick history of Hoff, man. Like I grew up in a church, Baptist. Then I kind of like once I got into college, I went like kind of atheist, and then I went agnostic, and then God spoke to me a few years ago, man. I'll never go back to any of those things that I was in between. I don't think being in the church as a kid wasn't not a good church. Let me tell you that. But finding my own personal relationship with a higher power that I know that I'm speaking to whenever I pray, it changed my life, man. I'm not gonna lie, it literally changed my life. And I wanted to ask you, your belief in God, does that have anything to do with your belief in like the shape of the earth? They talk about the firmament and stuff like that in the Bible, creation of earth, the heavens.
Yeah,
Genesis.
that's actually it's interesting you say that because that's actually how I got into flat Earth because I kept reading the Bible. Yeah, I kept reading the Bible, and I kept seeing like things that directly contradict the mainstream science to the point where I'm like, is all the mainstream science just there to try to contradict the Bible? Even if it sounds ridiculous, like evolution or something, or the Big Bang, these things that can't be proven, and they just say it's settled science. And I'm like, and I'd have these weird like clarity moments where I'm entering that lane where it's like my free will is going away if it ever existed. And I'm like, and I'd go out and tell my mom, I'd be like, and I'd forget all about satellites. I had believed in satellites at the time. And I would go, how do they know that the earth revolves around the sun? Like, why can't it revolve around the earth? Like, and then my mom's like, well, there's the satellites. And I just kind of go, and I kind of snap out of it and I go, oh yeah. And then I go research it and find out that the oldest satellite we have, like, is like, let's say the universe is like this big, right? Like the width of the screen. Like our satellites have only gone like just a 10 millionth of a trillionth of any distance from the Earth compared to everything. And I just kept questioning. And then I forgot what time it was, whether it was like the 15th or so time I read through the Bible, which shows you like if you really ignore something, like you won't come to it. Or maybe I was destined to come to it at the time. Like that's why I get in the debate on free will.
Do you believe in like divine intervention?
Yeah, like
I do.
It's interesting.
Because I went from not believing in a God at all to praying a lot. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm saying.
So,
real quick, I want to say hey to Matt Brooks. I love Matt Brooks. Great guy. Maybe I can have you on again sometime, buddy. But yeah, I'm glad you're here, man. But go ahead, bud.
Yeah, and so like one day I was reading through the book of Job, And when God speaks out of the whirlwind, like he just describes the earth as so flat. And it was in the back of my mind, like when I'd read the Psalms or something, I'm like, man, it really does sound like David's, showing the earth as flat. Like, and I'd go back and forth, like, was he wrong? But I'm like, but they attribute like him as prophesying like the Messiah and like even the crucifixion. So I'm like, he can't be wrong. And the people would say he's like an angel of God, knowing everything. Like one of the women who tried to, there's this whole thing where he banished his son because his son murdered another one of his sons. And then this commander really liked his son, so he did this whole thing where he set this woman to tell this story so that the judgment that the king would give would come against him, where it's like, well, aren't you gonna bring your son back? Like there's always a way to take the banished one back in. And then he asks her, like, I think it was Joab or something like that. He goes, was Joab, did he tell you to do this? And she's like, oh, it's true, O king, that nothing is hidden from you because you're like an angel of God. So I'm like, well, if the Bible describes him that way, I think God would show him what the earth looks like. He'd be able to figure that out. And so when I read through Job, it just sounded like flat. I just came out, Mom was doing her makeup. I'm like, Mom, the Bible keeps saying the earth is flat and it's really bugging me, or at least it sounds like it. And I started like quoting a couple things from Job, and I'm like, I think I'm going to say I believe in the globe until I can find proof, like that's flat or something like that. And she's just kind of like, okay, like. And then I go back in my room and I'm reading through the Psalms because I still had some extra time, and I get to Psalm 19, where it's like the stars are a tent for the sun, and the sun comes out and makes a circuit, and talking about the ends of the earth and stuff like that. And so I rush back out there and I'm like, no, you know what? I'm going to say that I'm a flat earther until I can prove the globe. And she's got like the mirror in front of her. I just see her eye kind of like, okay. And so like a few days later, or a week later, I was done with my Bible study. And I started going online trying to prove the globe, which is how it always starts. And here I am, with no proof of a globe.
Gotcha, man. Like I've heard there's like a lot of models, a lot of them don't add up, whenever you take the ball and the flat. A lot of things never apply to the ball that always apply to the flat, I guess.
Yeah, like I got some pictures here. Let's see. There's this picture. I think it's the longest ever photo, and it's of this mountain, right? But the photo is here. Let me show you. So basically, the mountain it's pointing to. Oops.
It's so far away that the curvature of the Earth would make it so you couldn't see it, right?
Yeah. So it's 275 miles away, and if you put this picture up here,
I love these two comments together. Space is fake and gay.
Let's see if I can line this up, because you'll be able to see, like if I just keep putting it in and out, you can tell that this is the mountain.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you how you had proof of that, but how do you know it's 275 miles without doing it yourself?
Let's see if I can get this picture up here.
You'd have to believe in the people who made the maps, who also lie to some extent, I guess, right? Remember, I think I'm wrong.
They can't get the map like 100% right.
But it's 8 inches per mile squared or something like that.
Yeah, 8 inches per mile squared. This one, and I have like the math for it. So here's a darker picture where you can see that it is the same mountain. And then here's the visibility chart. I won't look at that. Where is it at? All right, so here's the map. So it gives the point of where the photo was taken and the extent of how long it is, and it comes out to 275 miles. And if you look at, if you go to a curvature calculator.
All right, you got the receipts. Here we go.
Yeah, I put the eye height because it's about like 2 miles up, right? Or a little bit more. And so I put it in this calculator. It came out to 14,800 feet. And then the target distance, 275. It actually says the horizon should be 149 miles away, which in the picture, it isn't. Where is it at? So you could still see the horizon line like in front of these mountains. And if you look at this picture here, where is it at? Like about a little bit. Well, I guess like you could say maybe like a little bit of the horizon's gone, but it doesn't look like it. Like it looks like the whole mountain when I put those two pictures up. Like it doesn't look like any horizon is going away.
I've seen the videos of the boats where you zoom in on them on the ocean, and like people say they're going over the horizon, but you can still zoom in and still see the boat.
Yeah, it says so the target should be hidden 10,500 feet below the curve. And let me get my chart up here. Well, you won't be able to see it, but I had notes here. Where's it? Hoffcast. Yeah, so this comes from the Guinness Book of World Records. So this actually information is from the Guinness Book of World Records. You can look it up on their website. And I had a funny joke. Let me take this picture off of here. I had a funny joke that the reason it's called the Guinness Book of World Records is because it had to be made by an Irish guy, because an Irish guy is the only one who would question anything. Like it's like 275 miles away. Oh, I don't believe that. You gotta prove it to me. And then so he's like, I'm gonna make a book. Like, what? You could swallow a 5-foot fish? Oh, I can believe that. You know, make a show it to me.
By the way,
in the book.
Can I ask you a couple questions real quick? Like just real quick questions. How much time do you have tonight? Do you have to get off here any certain time, or do we have a little bit?
No, I can go till like 8 o'clock over here.
What is that in my time? 11 here. Okay. So that's awesome, because I wanted to mention to the chat, we got some other very, very special guests coming up here in a little bit during this stream. Celebrities are going to be here. We're gonna have celebrities here, so stay tuned for
that. So the Guinness Book of World Records, the actual thing for this, it says the longest line of sight on Earth photographed is 443 kilometers, which is 275 miles, archived by Mark Brett Guma of Spain, and it's of that mountain and stuff. It's called Pic Gaspard, and this is the photograph was taken using all this crap at sea. It says there are very few places on Earth, and I caught them in their own lie. It says there are very few places on Earth where it is possible to extend the line of sight so far due to the curvature of the Earth. Both the observer and object must be at sufficient height and altitudes for the object to be visible. The higher an observer is, the further they may see before the point where the Earth's curves out of sight, otherwise known as the horizon. And this is where I caught them in their lie. It says if the Earth had a uniform radius with no mountains and valleys, an individual 6 feet in height would view the horizon to be 3.1 miles away from them, which is false because there is a place on Earth that's uniform. If it was a globe, it's called the ocean. And there's pictures. The second picture I'm going to show up is across the ocean. And also there's pictures where you could see boats like 10 miles away on a clear day with like these telescopic lenses and stuff.
Well, what do you think about like the if it's a globe and it's got water on it, it's spinning? Why isn't the water spinning off? They say it's the atmosphere or gravity, but what is gravity? No one even knows what gravity is. I'm actually trying to get you to explain to me why, but I don't even know what gravity is. I don't think anyone can explain what gravity is. A lot of people don't even know what yawning is. Whenever you go, I bet everyone in the chat just yawned, but when you do that and then it's contagious, no one even knows what a yawn is. How do we know what gravity is?
Yeah, I kind of see it as a force from above pushing down, instead of how they say
some people thought our realm is, if you believe in a flat thing, is going upwards.
Yeah, that's the Flat Earth Society. They're kind of like a shill website meant to put people off of flat Earth because they see some crazy stuff. But basically, we'd be in a giant, I think they call it like a torus field. And I have some pictures of a torus field I could pull up later.
Taurus.
But this,
Oh, that's
yeah,
some-
this mountain basically is 12,740 feet. So the peak should be 2,200 feet above the horizon. But the picture, let me put it back up there.
I'm
It's
about
obvious.
to actually yawn.
Yeah, it's
Sorry,
obviously the whole mountain. Like it's not just if the curve was real, we'd only see like a sliver of it.
That looks like hell.
Well, it's because
infrared, right, or something.
I put up the contrast and stuff just so you can see the edge better. So like if it was the Earth's curvature, then we'd only probably see like the very tip of this thing. When we can actually
Just
see
the
the whole, like we can actually see like the whole mountain in there. Like
I get what you're saying, man. I totally get what you're saying. Like it would have dipped down, you'd just be able to see like maybe just the top of it. Totally get that, man.
And so like the second picture here is Mount Canigou. This is what the mountain looks like, just so that when I show it, so you can see the same mountain. Where's it at?
I do plan on having an after party tonight. I don't know if you'll stick around for it, but I do have. I'll put it out in the chat here. But it's gonna be. We still have a lot to talk about.
Yeah. So this is from 160 miles away, and I put. Let me see the calculator here. The calculator says that the horizon distance should only be like 2.9 miles away, because I put the guy as 6 feet. But even if you put it at like 100 feet, you just add 100 feet to that, it'd probably be like 5 miles away or 6 miles away. When obviously you could see like
big numbers guy here.
Let me show this. Where's the picture at?
I'm not.
So you can see like that it is the whole mountain here. And I have the zoom. Let me put the zoom picture. That'll be better. So I edited it so it's more crisp. And let me show this one. So you can see that it's like the whole mountain. Like it's not just the tip of the mountain. Like the whole mountain's in view. And some people would say, well, look, like the sun is going behind the mountains. That means it's setting behind the horizon line. But that's not actually true, because if you look at this picture here, showing the sun, airplanes, railroad tracks, and these telephone poles, the way perspective works is that everything will actually go down like that. Like it'll look like the sun's going down when it's actually going away. It'll look like the light poles or the telephone poles are going down when they're actually just going away. Like the telephones are in a straight line, right? They're not actually going down. They just appear so because of our perception. So there's all kinds of different examples. But those are my two flat Earth examples. Because Mount Canigou is 9,100 feet. And so in the Earth curve calculator, the peak should be 7,200 feet below the horizon. And that's 1.4 miles. Let's see, peak 60. Yeah, so the guy would have to be 3.1 miles high just to see a sliver of the peak. But he's obviously just like on some kind of like a hotel room balcony or something.
That's interesting, man. I mean, what do you think is the because someone in the chat said if the Earth is flat, why don't people just fall off? Well, I know the answer to that. You know the answer to that. Because apparently the ring around it is, correct me if I'm wrong, ice, Antarctica. And who knows if there's even, that's where it ends. There might be something else out there. And that might be where evil comes from or something. These are just theories I've heard.
Yeah, like basically this is the map here.
Because you can't, the water can't go off if the ice is there and the sun's, not hitting those parts, it eventually freezes, and that's what keeps the water in.
Yeah, and Antarctica is the highest elevation on Earth. It's not the highest elevation isn't the Himalayas or the what's the other, Mount Everest. It's Antarctica, and it's like, why?
That's insane.
It's because it's literally like, it's kind of like we live in a bowl, like Project Fistful or Operation Fistful. It's pretty interesting. Like,
do you think there's anything out on the other side of the wall?
No, I would just say water.
Some people think that's where aliens come from, is the other side of the wall, wherever it may be. Like there's more out there outside of that.
Basically, my view of aliens, and I think you agree on this, is interdimensional. So
yeah, I do agree on. Yeah,
if God put all the stars and he set them in the firmament, then that's probably where they're projecting their spirit from, whatever this interdimensional thing is. Like, I don't think they're actually traveling. I think they're just projecting their image out into the world, which is very interesting given how light works with like a crystal dome and like atmosphere. Like, even though it's spiritual,
like getting real deep, dude. Let's keep going, keep rolling.
Like almost like angels, almost like angels can be holographic.
Dang,
because
dude.
When the Messiah rose from the dead, he returned to the disciples and proved to them he wasn't a spirit, which is interesting. It's like, well, when people see an angel, can they actually touch them? I don't know. I mean, it talks about the angels grabbing Lot and taking him out of Sodom and Gomorrah, but that could still be a spiritual thing. It's not him contacting the angel, it's the angel actually contacting him.
Can I ask you two things? Oh, go ahead, man. I'll let you finish.
Yeah, so it's like
right now,
maybe these angels are actually more like a holograph of wherever.
That's what I was going to ask.
Their being is from. Like, it's just them casting their spirit out. Because we even have a spiritual sphere around us. When you get into like the spiritualist side, like they believe that that's what the whole social distancing is from, because the average aura, for lack of
aura. I knew you were going to say that. I knew you were going to say aura, dude.
Yeah, for lack of a better word, though, because I don't like the new agey stuff. Like, it's supposedly the average extends 6 feet, and people who are more spiritual can extend it farther. And that's where we get into like prophets actually like seeing into the future, or seeing different, like being caught up in a vision and seeing something on another part of the world, because they're actually, God is powering them up so much that they're actually extending that spiritual field out. It's very interesting.
Let me ask you a couple things I wanted to ask. You were talking about angels might be holographic, maybe like projections or something like that. I think that's what
or like a spiritual form of it. Like,
well, I'm gonna I got a few questions I'm gonna ask about that. But what I wanted to ask you is if you heard about Project Bluebeam. Are you familiar with that?
Yeah.
Do you think that would be implied at all? There'll be a false messiah used with holographics in the skies used by the satellites?
Well, I think most of that
got like 17,000 satellites. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Matt Brooks. He said he subscribed.
Oh, cool.
I think
the chat's lighting up. I'm sorry we're not in the chat, but I'm just wanting to hear what you're saying, man. Hopefully we'll get to the chat towards the end of the show, but we got some more stuff. Go ahead, bud.
Yeah, I'm like compressing videos in the background too.
Multitasking like a mouse.
Yeah, so I think a lot of Project Bluebeam is a hoax, because if you know how holographs work, like they need kind of like smoke and mirrors, and it works really good if there's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere.
But haven't you heard about Bill Gates wanting to send chalk dust up into the atmosphere to block the sun, allegedly?
Oh, that is weird.
That happened last year, and then I guess they cut it down. They didn't let him do it, but he still wants to do it. He's still trying to, and maybe he did, and we just don't know about it. But that's a true story. But that would give the light if you're doing holograms and stuff. There was this crazy video from China or somewhere during the New Year's. I don't know if it was real or not, where they had all these holographic things around during the fireworks and whatnot. It was a crazy show. I don't know if it's real or not. But
and see, they need like smoke and mirrors, and a lot of times they'll have these jets that spray like mist into the air. But they have done weird stuff, like in Vegas, where it doesn't really look like the air is filled with anything, and like stuff comes out. So I know they can do something.
I've seen the video of the pyramid, the Luxor in Vegas, and the beam that shines from the top of the pyramid has all these things flying through it. They look like, I might be able to find that video. I don't know, but it's a crazy video.
Yeah, that sounds trippy. Yeah, I think like Project Bluebeam can't do the extent. Like they could probably do something, and it's very limited. But it's made.
I mean, do you believe it's a real thing?
Well, I believe it's a real plan. I just don't think it works at the capacity that they want you to think it does. Like it has to be very local, and it has to be very certain conditions of like the air. But I think it's like if there's signs in the sky, people don't take it as signs because they're like, oh, it's this Project Bluebeam, you know. It's one of those inversions.
Yeah, I see that too, man. It's funny that Bayou Bear brought up direct energy weapons because I actually had it on my list. You probably can't see it. Of things I wanted to ask you about 9/11 direct energy weapons. It's funny that it's synchronicity, man. I swear, happens to me all the time.
Yeah, direct energy weapons, like that's the same thing. Like with Project Bluebeam, like they seem to have lasers and stuff that can do it, but like I'm very skeptical. Like I think a lot of it is fear porn, but it's always an inversion. Like it's something they're working on, but it's never at the capacity that they say it is. And with the 9/11 thing, like I could just put a video in the chat, because I don't really talk about what I think 9/11 is because it's so complicated. That I think people just get confused or they argue because some people are diehard bombs, some people are diehard directed energy, some people just decide to throw them all into a big giant cocktail and say it was all of them, and that's a classic like inversion spell to get people from knowing what it actually is. And so I made this video. It's called "What 9/11 Is Not." Let me just put it in the chat. And it just talks about my problems with all of it, like my problems with bombs, my problems with directed energy.
I want to ask you. I can't remember if I asked you this the other night, but you're obviously red pilled. Are you black pilled? Do you have hope for the world? Do you think that's the biblical things are going to happen, and that's just the way things are going to play out? But do you think there's hope, or just hope for our souls?
Well, in the terminology, it would be white pill, but in reality, I don't take pills. Like basically, the Matrix, and people can look up my Matrix breakdown. The pills are an inversion. Like you shouldn't take pills from a strange man in a trench coat in an abandoned building.
That's
like
true.
That's the first thing.
Yeah, kids don't take drugs from guys in a white van, dressed up in clown suits. Yeah.
Yeah, especially with a big old gap in their teeth. And their name is Morpheus, which is basically means like a shadow or a form, which I think it's hilarious that they made the actor black. But it's like
I didn't want to bring it up. That was real cosmology, not me.
They did it on purpose, though, like because it was created by a certain tribe, the Wachowski brothers, now the Wachowski sisters.
Absolutely, it also did. If it comes to a cinematic kind of thing, it did show kind of the yin, the yang there when it comes between like Keanu Reeves, the palest dude of all time, especially in that movie, and then Lawrence Fishburne. You kind of see that the opposite.
Yeah, that's interesting. And also, like they, that certain tribe has a history of like hating black people. That's why they start things like BLM to literally destroy the black family.
I know, man. That's terrible. It's terrible.
Yeah,
I don't like to get too much into that. I know it's going on. Me personally, I don't think I should talk about it, but I do know what you're talking about, and I agree with you. It's not a good thing for people, even though they're trying to make it like let's stand up for everyone. No, that's not what it is. They're using of weaponizing you for who you are, basically, in my opinion.
Yeah, it's always kind of a coincidence, as they call it. When somebody wants to forcefully inject your child with a experiment, it always happens to be a transgender person from a certain tribe, and it's like people think you're bad just for noticing that, and that's when you hit the nail on the head. But basically, I have this meme that I can also pull up. It's
by the way, I want to say real quick here before you go here. I want to say Hoffcast here. Inherently, I don't have anything against trans people, gay people, LGBTQ community. I got nothing against you. You're welcome here at Hoffcast. I have a problem with the pushing of this on society and the good and the bad and the evil. That is the way it is. I mean, God bless your soul. I hope you find out who you really are. But I'm not inherently against you just because you are something like that. I just want to make that clear here. Hoffcast is not a hateful place at all, and you're welcome. So.
And I'll make it clear that I am.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. I get that too.
Like, I don't hate anybody, though. Just, I believe that certain sexual preference is the root of pedophilia, but I'll just leave it at that.
I do agree with that, but at the same time, I just think I think there are some people who are mentally ill. I think there are some people who are coerced into doing these things. And I think some people, honestly, just as being a child who knew some kids who were kind of weird growing up, I think some people are born a little that way or whatever. I can't. I
think they're born that way. I think they're just molested that way. But that's not the number one.
Okay, but go ahead.
If you ask them about their childhood or their father, you'll learn the truth pretty quick. And so I made this meme. It says, if the Matrix was a transgender allegory, does that make the red pill the trans pill and the blue pill the cis pill? And that got some attention. Because if you listen to Morpheus, and I bring this up in my breakdown, he tells Neo that taking the red pill changes his biology and makes him trackable so that they can put him in and out of the Matrix.
Interesting.
And it's
but you're already trackable in the Matrix, though, right?
Yeah.
So getting out of it, you're still going to be trackable either way.
Yeah, but trackable by them. They're your handlers.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
The people so it's interesting how,
but still, like, what would you want to be? Would you want to stay in the Matrix, or would you want to be pulled out and be with those people?
Well, yeah, like
the pirates, pirates.
That's the philosophical part of the movie. Like, what is actually wrong with the Matrix? If you never know you're in it, then you just live your life. You live the way God wants you to live. Then you live to old age, you're happy, and then you die. To actually rebel against the Matrix puts you in a place literally called
I think the Matrix is in chaos right now, so that's what's wrong with it. But I know what you're saying, man. Yeah. And I know that you believe in like getting off the grid and growing your own food and everything like that, and I do too. But we're getting to the point where like these elitists and these big corporations are buying up a lot of the big land out there, and there's tons of it, especially in America. I don't know if you've ever flown before, but if you've ever flown, you fly across the country, tons of land out there. We're not overpopulated, in my opinion, at all. Just these certain areas like Los Angeles and New York are overpopulated, and that's where you're getting all this crap come from. Just like all the smog in China, it's all come from the big areas. They got smog alerts and whatnot. So what I'm saying is, when you have all this land out here, we need to grab it now. And even with, I'm not going to get into this right now, but my parents are going through a struggle right now with a certain electrical company who is trying to take over their land and trying to sell them out. And it's a big, huge deal. I'm not going to get into that, but like there's tons of great land out where I grew up with my parents. Country road, dirt country road, and then it led to AEP owned land. I just said the company, by the way. Anyways, so now they're trying to own all of that, even though there's like 5 houses within like 3-mile radius. You know what I mean? So
yeah, they can always you can always win that.
They're trying. They're getting lawyers and stuff. They're trying their damnedest for sure. Cheers to my parents.
Like, just always give them confidence to go till the end, because if they do, then they'll get their lawyer fees and everything paid when they win the case, because they will win, in my opinion.
I think they
you
will
really are
too,
just,
man.
if
I
they're
pray
really
for 'em.
just, yeah, if they're good, I encourage everybody to pray for them, because it's like, if you just don't give in, they always lose, and they want to tell you, all these doom and gloomers always try to tell people, oh no, you can't win, and it's just satanic.
So you're not black pilled, obviously.
No, but
Good.
like
I
I
like to
said,
hear that.
like the Matrix is actually supposed to be good. Like, it's an inversion. Like, Neo isn't shown the Matrix until he's given the pill that changes his biology, makes him trackable, and like there's no going back. And then he's shown, ironically, through a television screen, what the real world is. So basically, it's an inversion. And so Matrix means womb. And I can pull up this video really quick. Let me see if I can find it.
It was weird how the Wachowski brothers became the Wachowski sisters, both of them. It is kind of weird, both of them
So
at the same time, you know.
Doesn't this look like a pregnant woman's belly? It's a baby bump. The Matrix is literally means womb, and I think it's a metaphor for the flat Earth, with the dome being literally the womb.
So are we in a Matrix?
Yeah. I mean, there's many Matrix. There's a Matrix.
But do you
in
think
your bones.
then did God create the Matrix then? Because if you believe in a higher power, okay. Oh wow.
Yeah, he created this realm for us to be in, and so they view it as like God being that Deus ex machina thing at the end, where God's just this tyrant controlling us and all this. When actually, when you break out of the Matrix, you're actually in a horrible condition. Your whole biology is you have to be rehabilitated. You literally live in something called the underworld with no sunlight.
Good movies.
And like the dance scene in the first movie looks like Sodom and Gomorrah. And it's
just, underworld.
Yeah, when they're all dancing and they're all like freaking sweaty and half naked.
Yeah.
And then there's other scenes that are like that too, like when they go and see what's that guy's name? The Merovingian or whatever it's called.
I know you're talking about, but I haven't seen it in years. But yeah,
they go to his place and he's got all these people dancing in like S&M outfits and stuff, and it's like, dude, what is wrong with this movie? Like,
I should watch it again now that I've learned all these things. I haven't seen it in a decade, dude. But maybe I should watch it again. Vampires, man. Vampires are like a lot of people think they're mythological. Vampires are real, in my opinion. I'm just saying. I'm not saying they grow their teeth out and turn into bats. That's not what I'm saying at all. But I do think vampires are real.
Yeah, the spiritual vampires are real. Like, they actually are addicted to blood. That's why I think we were talking
never
about this
invite
on
one
the after
in.
show.
Okay, I said never invite one in.
Yeah, and so like that's why I think the Bible says not to eat meat with the blood in it, because that's the life. And so the more you eat of like people who eat raw meat, I feel like it just escalates from there, because you start getting addicted to the consumption of the life force, and that's what they're doing with adrenochrome. Like,
I was just about to ask you about that, so go ahead.
They are, what they do is unfortunately, torture somebody, and we all know who it is, until their spirit is filling their blood, because your blood has the life in it. Their life is it's being expressed so much that when they actually extract it, it's a more potent version of it. And
it's where the movie Monsters Incorporated, Monsters Inc. came from, right?
Yeah.
Like they're talking about, scaring kids and shit, like the monsters. Oh shit.
Yeah, and like it's more spiritual than physical. Like, I think these people get a certain energy rush when they do something bad, and the worse it is, the more energy they get from it. Like, if you've ever done something bad,
yeah, I know what you mean. I know it like riles it up, gets it spicy or whatever for these people who like to do things like this.
Yeah, like if somebody's ever seen, like, let's just say it, a naked lady on the screen, it gives like a certain energy where you're like, oh my God, like that's what they're addicted to.
I get
And
a
that's
certain
how,
energy.
and that's what people can be addicted to and start watching porn and stuff, you know? And so I
Not
think it's the
guilty.
same. I think it's the same thing where when they're doing something like to the extent of literally drinking blood, it fills them with such an energy that that is life for them. Death becomes life for them. Like the Bible says, death shall be their shepherd. And also that the testimony of Christ is an aroma of life to those who are saved, but an aroma of death to those who are perishing. So for them, I think when the more transgression they do, like the larger the transgression is, the more energy they're getting from it, and they call it like
And that's sad, dude. It's
adrenaline.
disgusting, right? Like, it's freaking
Yeah,
disgusting.
And so
Who
like
do you,
that's
I
where
mean, not naming names, but who do you think in in terms of like, do you think Hollywood politicians, you know, those kind of people, they're in on that, like musicians, Lady Gaga, she's done some stuff about talking about that kind of thing, you know. She's
Peter,
talking about like Lady Gaga's talking about like getting spirits from other realms to like communicate, and that's how she gets her muse, her artistic, however she writes her music, and then she talks. You know, you see her pictures of cutting up cake that looks like a little kid that's got blood covered all over it.
yeah, because they worship it. They see it as it's really bad. Like that's why a lot of them, they can't be saved, because they've gone so far that literally transgression and death gives them life, for lack of a better word. Like it's life to them. Alex Jones actually covered this a couple of times. Like
speaking of Lady Gaga's supposed to be for Pluto, which is a very evil planet from what I've heard. But go ahead about Alex Jones.
Well, it's also backwards is Agag, which was the king of the Amalekites in the Bible, and there's a whole history behind that. It also means exalted, Agag.
I like having, dude. This cannot be the only stream we ever do because I love talking. Keep going, man.
Yeah,
you're talking about Alex Jones there for a second. I'm sorry to throw you off.
Yeah, he talks about that where some of these people are like kind of dead and just like kind of like, ugh. But then like when whatever ceremony where they do that horrible thing starts happening, it's like suddenly they become like alive, because they're it's weird. The life in their blood starts like awakening to it. Like it's pretty bad, because when somebody does something as bad as like harming a child sexually or murdering anybody really, but especially a child, like God doesn't want them anymore. Like God's going to be like, you know what? Your energy is going to be set to that. You're not coming back, buddy.
Can I ask you a question real quick? That brings up a big point I wanted to ask you about earlier. I hate seeing this because I don't have a real answer for it, and I'd like to have an answer for it. Maybe you have one. A lot of people say, well, like, if God is real, then why does he allow innocent people or children to suffer? And like, why do you think that is? Does it come back to free will, or like the lack of, I don't know. Like, I'm lucky I was born where I was and I have the parents and family I have, but I know not everyone's that lucky. I see it all the time, you know, but
yeah, it's just God has a way higher understanding than anybody. So like, let's take, if a child gets treated that way, they're innocent. They're gonna go back to God in the end, and that pain is going to be very menial compared to eternity. And some people might say that's unjust, but it's like our just and unjust are based off of God, like following him or not following him. Like he was the first, so he literally can't be unjust. So if he destined somebody to eternal life through that type of suffering, you know, who are you to question God when he literally is giving eternal life to somebody?
Okay, well,
and so like there's all kinds of things where it's like people don't understand that pain and suffering are what we have to go through in order to inherit eternal life, because we are here to learn that it's not pleasure that is important. It's it's just all it's something that you literally
And that's the
have
issue
to,
right there. You just said it, is that we're not here for pleasure. And that's why you see the most evil people only living here for pleasure, right?
yeah. And it's like,
So
and
that makes, oh my gosh, that just makes so much total sense to me. Holy crap. Oh man,
yeah.
dude,
So
blew my
like
mind.
people be like, you know, why does God, because this is in the Bible too, it's like, why does God let these wicked people be so rich and get everything they want and get away with doing horrible things? It's like, because they signed a
They already sold
spiritual,
their souls.
yeah, they signed a spiritual contract saying, I want it all right now. And so if they're literally going to spend eternity in suffering, then that is completely just of God to let them be allowed to get whatever they
Because
want.
they tried to play God by trying to make heaven on earth themselves.
Yeah. And there's still limits too.
Dude,
like some of these
I'm
people
totally now. Holy crap, dude, this makes so much sense.
yeah, some of these people want to go beyond their limits too, and God will just yank them out. Like Epstein. Like he might have killed himself. That's the whole thing with the truth community.
You don't hear that much.
They need to realize that those things are possible. That this whole satanic cabal, whatever you want to call it, they don't care about each other. If it profits them to even murder that guy at the right time so that they can draw people's energy and attention away from something and focus on him, then they'll do it. And also, if he went too far and he did too many bad things and he just wouldn't stay within a certain bound, and God's just like, no, you're going to go insane and kill yourself, then that's what's going to happen. And then they just make you argue on whether he did it or not. And that kind of draws the focus away from the entire like sex trafficking ring. Like, it's pretty interesting.
Do you think that's why they're focusing so much on Joe Rogan right now instead of Ghislaine Maxwell?
Yeah, that's kind of stuff too. Like Joe Rogan's just kind of like a clown guy who's.
I know, I get that, dude. He's not a good comedian. I do like Joe Rogan. I don't watch him much. I've said that before. Watch clips sometimes. He's more of a host. The attacks on him, though, it's hilarious, dude. I mean, I'm not defending the guy, but it's just to see the mainstream media go after him is like a red flag to me that he might be doing something good. And I know you might think he's a psyop. That's fair enough. But to me, like anytime the mainstream or a certain side goes after someone, that to me is a red flag where maybe I should start listening to them and find out more about them, just personally.
Yeah, like he told, I don't know if you've seen that one interview where he told the guy, he looked straight at the camera. He goes, hand to God or something like that. He goes, CIA, government, you know.
Cheers to Barb.
He goes, I'm yours if you can show me the alien stuff. Like if you can prove the alien stuff to me, he goes, I'll tell you anything. I'll make up stories. He goes, I'll lie to my mother. You know, he's like, he was telling the government, like, CIA, I'm available. If you show me the proof of aliens, then I'll do whatever you want. And they obviously must have shown him some weird spiritual seance thing or something. Like, and he's like, oh, okay, I'll do whatever you want. Like, he just literally in that one interview said, I will sell my soul if you just give me this one thing. And they're like, okay, like, you want to join the club? Like, it's going to be kind of weird.
When it comes to selling your soul, I mean, a lot of people say that your soul is not yours to sell. God owns it. What do you think when a lot of these artists, especially now, you see it more and more often, people are saying, I sold my soul. I regret, like the island. I'm an island boy. Yeah. Like he sold his soul, you know. He said, I'll come here, I'll sell my soul, and you know, blah 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 blah. I got my pool noodles going off my head and tattoos all over my face. Yeah.
I say it looks like a cat exploded on his head. But
basically, looks like my lint trap in my dryer. Go ahead.
Yeah, in that video, he even said he's not through the whole thing yet, because I think him making that video was part of it, because it's revelation of method where he's telling them, yeah, I sold my soul and I haven't been happy since, but I get everything I want. And
well, what does that mean? Do you sign over like you are going to do this contract? Is it like a literal physical contract, like a piece of paper that has terms of agreements on it?
I don't.
Or is it because I think that is because they come to these people who go viral on YouTube or whatever, Instagram, Snap, I don't know what it is. And they come to these people and they ask them, hey, you're an influencer. You obviously blew up. Like, what can we give you to keep we'll keep paying you to keep putting you up and keep promoting you on these things. In my opinion, is that selling your soul? Because I think it is.
Well, I think it's kind of a ritual, and it's like it has layers to it. Like that's what you even said in the video, where somebody
you were talking about earlier, like even like the Scientologists talking about the OT 1, 2, 3, and you couldn't talk.
And that actually comes from Satanism. I forgot exactly what it is. There's that Aleister Crowley thing, and it was called like OT or something like that.
Good old Aleister Crowley.
It's in that documentary that Leah Remy or whatever her name is was involved.
Yeah,
in.
the Queen's lady.
Clear. It was like Coming Clear or something like that.
I watched some of that. Yeah, I watched some of that.
Yeah, it has a scene where it talks about the satanic thing that's called like OT. I forgot exactly what it was, but on theirs it's just operating thetans allegedly with them. So what was I saying? Oh, so it's like in levels. Like somebody in InfoWars, who I think actually went through the process, but she's claiming she didn't. It's like the blonde lady, Millennial Millie, I think she calls herself now. She said that when she was trying to get into the modeling stuff, they would have these parties you go to that were kind of like a satanic,
Eyes Wide Shut.
Yeah, it was like a satanic.
Tom Cruise, go figure.
It was like a satanic communion where they would have. She said like they had this very obese woman up there with this guy dressed like the Messiah, and they were like making out and doing weird blasphemous things while they all literally took communion. So it's like in levels like that. Like they'll have you in these parties, see if you can tolerate it.
Freemason stuff is like they do electroshock therapy to you. Like
the Freemasons, they just invite you to a barbecue.
No, I mean that's what they're saying now. Of course, the Freemasons are weak now. Back in the day, I guess they would like what do they call it, like hose you, whatever they say. Can't think of the word, but they apparently, from what I'd seen from a video, they prod you with electrical stuff and make you get naked in front of a circle in front of everyone, and that's how you got to the next level until you get up to number 33.
Yeah, that's some of part of some of their rituals, but like with Freemasonry, a lot of times like they will just invite you to a barbecue, like, hey, brother, like the
that's how they just get you going.
Yeah, the Space Force
it's
guy.
Like the
Space Force guy said he the Freemasons try to tap him, right? But he wasn't like into it because Freemasons are more. Huh?
I don't know which guy you're talking about.
No, the guys told you about that worked for Space Force.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, when I was talking to him, he said the Freemasons tried to tap him, but he wasn't into it because he's a Satanist and he's like really dark. He gets off on serial killers and how they like torture children. The conversation got kind of dark because he was drinking and he felt comfortable, I guess. But like he's just really dark, so he didn't like the whole brotherhood thing. Like the Freemasons are for people who are part of the plan, but they're at least more friendly about it. They don't seem as demented, or at least if they are, it's like really secret. This guy was like right out in the open, like what he likes. So he wasn't into the Freemasons.
Damn. Dude.
But then again, like how am I going to trust him? Or he just felt like he was already high enough to where he didn't need to be a part of it. It's interesting, like, because it was funny. What's really funny about that? And I feel like I'm confident enough to say it because these people are not good people in my opinion. One time on Jeranism, if you've heard of Jeranism, he mentioned that he invited some guy like to a barbecue or whatever, and after the barbecue, like he started spiraling and lying and claiming we're all Freemasons. And so when I heard that story that like Freemasons will just invite you to a barbecue, and then it got confirmed with the Space Force guy, I remember that story again, and I'm like, it's very interesting how they invited him to a barbecue, and then he like totally went south and started calling them all Freemasons. I'm like, but But I don't know.
Well,
It's interesting.
the barbecue. What is the barbecue first and foremost? That's their place to like. Hey, it's a friendly place. Let's just get you and talk to you. You know, let's see what's going on. In my opinion, who doesn't want to go to a damn barbecue? Anytime someone invites me, I'm going to a damn barbecue. But not if it's run by the Freemasons, I guess, or the Illuminate. I wanted to ask you. Go ahead if you have.
So I guess that's what they do, though. They'll invite them, and then they'll talk to them about it at the party, because that's what he was saying. Like, they invited me, I came, and then they're all talking about, oh, you want to join the Freemasons? It's all about brotherhood, and it's all the greater good. You know, what's that? Exitus acta probat. You know, the ends justify the means. You know, we're all going to bring everything together. We just need to follow this plan. You know, they lie to you until you get to a higher level. Then they're like, oh, by the way, we're all Luciferians. We worship the devil as the sun. And you're like, what? And they'll actually believe that the sun is like a portal that souls go through and stuff, which is weird, because the first time I ever heard that was from Alex Stein. And I'm like, where did you get that from?
Let me see.
Go ahead, Mr. Starting your broadcast at 33 years old. Not that that's bad, but that's when Alex Stein, 99, Freemasonic number, decided to start it. Everything is Illuminati with him.
For sure, man.
So it's interesting. I mean,
I want to say hey to Shane, because Shane's my buddy. I love you, Shane. And yeah, you're a little late, man. You've missed a lot of good stuff, but guess what? Hopefully this one stays up. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. We're deep diving tonight. I'm loving it. Yeah, hey, Shane, you like the hoodie, bro? Shane's my boy in real life, so.
Yeah, it seems all right so far. I'll probably repost it on my other pages, and then of course,
absolutely. Hey, do what you want with it, man. If do whatever you want with this stream. Please put it up on your channel. I say that with all of Hoffcast. I don't want to like gatekeep and make my content just my own. If you want to cut it up and make me sound like an idiot, go ahead. I don't give a shit. That'd be funny. And just don't attack me with it, all right? I try to mince my words, but that's fine. You know, just do whatever you want with it. It's cool, but definitely do what you want with this stream, my man. Just don't make me look like more of an idiot than I already do. That's all I ask.
No, it's fine. I think you're a smart guy. I just think.
I know. I kind of play it, dude. I kind of play the dumb guy sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. I do not know half of what you know. But I do kind of get a general vibe of things, and I think I'm very perceptive of my bullshit radar is off the charts, man. I can see through bullshit like no one else, and I feel like that's my superpower sometimes. Even though when it comes to things that I'm asking you about, that's why I want to learn. And everything that you've been saying tonight, man, is just blowing my mind, dude.
Well, which reminds me, I thought of something. I think it was last night or the night before. I'm like, oh man, it's gonna blow Hoff's mind, because I'm like, everybody's always saying, oh, you know, don't listen to the government this, the government that, the government's this big boogeyman. But in reality, on the material side, the government's the last thing you have. And so this might come to a shock to some people, but the government, our current U.S. government, is the smallest it has ever been in its entire existence. It's the weakest and smallest it's ever been, and it's not our enemy. What is our enemy is the majority of people's immorality, which gives powers to things like private corporations, like NASA. The Federal Reserve is actually private, and because of the in my opinion, iniquity of the general populace, that's what allowed what's his face, Woodrow Wilson, to even sign away the country. And he didn't even seem like he wanted to do it, because if you look up the quote, he's like, I've done the worst thing in American history. I have sold our future to a handful of bankers. I've done, like, it's a pretty interesting quote if you look it up. Woodrow Wilson's quote on the Federal Reserve. Like, it was the mass the majority's collective immorality that keeps piling up, that's making our government weaker and weaker. And what we're being controlled by right now is corporate interests who are controlling our politicians, because if you have a wicked populace, the only politicians who are going to come out of that are wicked men. And wicked men can be bribed and controlled by special interest groups and corporations like Big Pharma, Big Oil, NASA, and all these things. The reason why those things have control is because of of the nation's immorality, and the government actually doesn't really have much power at all. That's why the government's not working like it should, because it's tied up by all these corporations.
That's an interesting point, dude. That's
so like if you get a ticket for not wearing a mask, or something happens that's explicitly illegal, the government is your last hope to get any of that repealed. Like your parents with their whole issue they're having.
But they have no power anymore, so they can't.
Yeah, but what if there was no government? What if those special interests and corporations sent people out to tell everybody to attack the government instead of them? And then we literally kill the last hope we have at justice. And then once the government is gone, then it's just those corporate things. And we have what these people are calling for, like anarcho-capitalism, where literally you can have a Taco Bell army.
Dude, like you sound like Tyler Durden from Fight Club. Let's go. Do this Project Mayhem right here.
Yeah, if we have because I mean, really, all these corporations are already acting off of anarcho-capitalism, and they control the militaries.
For all I know, I'm doing a stream right now, and I'm talking through you, and you're not even here. You're Tyler Durden, and I'm fucking Ed Norton, I guess. I don't know. Keep going though.
Yeah, it's trippy. I should make a shirt or something that says save the US government, and then the back, like, the government's not your enemy, because it's literally not. Like, your local judge and all this stuff is like your only legal hope when you get into these unconstitutional like problems, like when someone does something to you that isn't backed by the Constitution. Like, our Constitution literally states any law, not even mandate, but any law that goes against the Constitution is null and void. So if you have community, and you know your judges, and you know your cops, and your sheriffs, and something happens to you that's unconstitutional, and you have that community, you're gonna be fine. Your government is going to help you. But if you are just somebody who stays at home, isolated, wasting your essence away on some bad website all day, just complaining about all the Jews or all the Chicons or all the this or all the that, then you're not going to have anything when they try to bust down your door unconstitutionally. There's only going to be anarcho-capitalism and the Taco Bell army and the Pepsi Cola militia and all this stuff. Like, we already are operating technically in anarcho-capitalism. The only thing getting in the way is the last bit of government we still have.
I agree with that, man. And Shane said government wants everyone to depend on them. What do you think about that? Like, I think that's why I think that's what they always try to make a big scene about everything.
But see, it's not the government that wants you to be dependent on them. It's Levi's, it's McDonald's, it's the water company, it's the gas company, it's Big Pharma, it's all this.
Dude.
It's not the government. It's literally corporations. And because the nation's been immoral for so long, the only politicians that get up there are immoral. If we all just focused on each of our communities and the morality of each community, then those wicked politicians will die off, and the new politicians will be righteous, and they won't have any dirt like Big Pharma. Let's say a company like Pfizer has videos of some politician doing something bad. If the politicians didn't do things bad, they wouldn't have those videos. and the politicians wouldn't be controlled. So it's not our government that wants us to depend on them. It's corporate interests that make money off our dependence. The government doesn't make money off your dependence. Corporations do. It's crazy. It's like imagine you have a mother and she's a good mother, but you have and this is just a hypothetical, so it'll be an insane number, 10,000 siblings. And 80% of those siblings are so wicked that they are overpowering your mother. And because she's a woman, it's very stressful. And then she starts getting bitter and resentful because she can't control what's going on. And so sometimes she lashes out on you. And then you're just like, it's all your fault, when it's actually all those siblings. And it's actually a mother that really cares about you. But she's just so broken from all the other stuff around her that it's harder for her to help you. And you just keep blaming her instead of literally all those siblings that are causing the trouble. It's kind of like that. Our government is supposed to work for us and be good. But if our country just breeds people that are self-serving and wicked, then that's what all your politicians are going to be, no matter what.
I mean, I guess I agree with that, man. Do you think? I mean, I think they're all paid off. I think they're all paid to say.
Well, yeah, but only wicked men can be paid off.
That's true. Okay, so that boils back to what you were saying. I don't even know how that really works. I guess a lot of money involved, where you can pay people off to do.
That's why Babylon's
of the devil or whatever.
Yeah, that's why Babylon's doomed to fall, because it's it's not we can just go and hang all these CEOs. That wouldn't help either, because then who would control the infrastructure? You got someone like Jeff Bezos, right? Totally wicked dude. But if you just got rid of him, then who would actually control what he's controlling? That whole infrastructure would crumble if you didn't have another guy with that capabilities. Because wicked or not, he has the capability of running Amazon. The CEO of some big medical company or some big construction company that's wicked, he has the capacity to run all those numbers, all the quarterly whatever. He controls all the people under him. You just get rid of him and there's no one to replace him, that whole infrastructure collapses. So that's why these people, these corporate interests, they have somewhere to hide, right? They have these mountain bases or deep underground stuff, whatever it is. They have somewhere to go. Trudeau isn't in the capital right now. I guarantee you, he's underground somewhere, and they're just telling a bunch of people to go and give your energy to that building and to destroy any infrastructure you have, because the more it collapses, the more power these guys are going to have. And so they're telling you, go and take over your government, because once that's out of the way, they're going to be, like I said, it can be as ridiculous as a Taco Bell militia.
Hey, I know you said you wanted to kind of try to wrap this up by 11. I want to have these celebrities on here tonight, but I have just a couple more questions for you, man. What do you think about cryptocurrency?
Oh, I think it's a Ponzi scheme, because
I agree.
Who's the person who's going to be able to put the most money into crypto? It's going to be Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, all these rich guys, right? So they're going to own the majority of the wallets, and they can manipulate the market just by saying something because they have influence. I had a story. It was something called Grimace coin, named after the McDonald's character. And so you can, you can have, let's just say Elon Musk buy
Nelson Grimace,
100 grand, 100 grand of Grimace coin. And then he tweeted about it or something, and McDonald's replied to it. And then all of a sudden it went up 280%. Imagine if you put even 10 grand into a coin worth 0.000001 pennies. And then you tweeted something and it goes up 280%. That's insane. Like, it's so
But you have
controlled.
to sell it then. You don't want to stick around when that's just a jump from what I've seen. You know, I don't want to get into all that.
Yeah, but they control the jumps.
It was like, yeah, that's what I was asking. If you thought it was like all controlled.
Oh, that little man from Art Stern.
Yeah, dude. I love little Juice. He was crazy. He has his own coin.
That's funny. I actually saw a video in the day where it said, it's like, what color is a carrot? And he's like, I don't know. It's a carrot. So it's pretty funny.
Okay, I wanted to ask you just a couple more questions real quick before we get to the celebrities. You know what I'm talking about. We're bringing some celebrities on here soon. All right, bud. First one, I wanted to ask you, have you ever seen anything supernatural? Like, you ever seen a UFO or a ghost or anything like that? I have seen UFOs. I've never seen a ghost in my life. Not once. I've never had cabinets open, drawers fly out. I've never had chairs stacked on each other. I've never had a supernatural experience with a ghost, but I've definitely seen some stuff in the sky that I was questionable about.
Well, only twice. And this is something that a lot of people who see this stuff won't tell you, that it was as I was waking up, because they like to say like, oh, I saw these spirits, but they'll be deceitful and they won't tell you that they were just waking up, because they'll be like, oh, they'll say it's fake, like I was dreaming. But one time I was in my room and is like there's no lights, right? And I just kind of opened my eyes and I was very conscious. Like, it wasn't even like a normal waking up. It was like my eyes just opened. And then I see this like wood chair just kind of come out of nowhere and set in front of me. And then I looked up and have you ever seen that show Metalocalypse?
Yeah.
You know the big, like, the zombie looking guy who's like, wait.
I mean, I'm familiar with the show, but I don't know that guy particularly.
Yeah, well, it kind of looked like that dude. It was really weird. Or the ghosts on.
So it was creepy as hell. Like, was it scary?
Well, yeah, I almost jumped out the window until I figured out. Like, it felt so real. Like, I was about to start yelling out the window for help. It was that intense.
Damn,
but
dude.
It looked kind of like, you know, on Lord of the Rings, when they make the deal with those dead kings to join the war.
And yeah, like all the ghosts in there.
Yeah, it was a different color. It was kind of like that bluish color that where if you turn a TV on in the dark room and the sort of color that's cast on the wall, like that weird kind of bluish gray color. That was freaky. And the only other time,
that's crazy, man.
Yeah, I was in my room and I woke up kind of the same way, and I was half asleep. At least I think I was, and I turned over and there's this big, like, tall, sort of skinny figure with like just it looked kind of like the Greys, because they're slender, actually
tall, slender man.
Yeah, something like that. And I was just kind of like half asleep. I'm just like, who are you? All right, get out of here. Who are you? What are you going? Like, I thought it was just somebody in my room. It was really weird. And all of a sudden it kind of leaned forward and looked like it dropped something. And I heard something hit the floor. And I just jumped out of my bed and I turned the lights on, and nothing was there. And I'm like, oh, that's so weird. But then it was weird because there's somebody did the same thing like a few days later with something. And I'll just kind of leave it at that for certain reasons.
When I was in college,
they mimicked the same motion, and I'm like, and they didn't even say anything. This kind of came in and came out. I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like one of those synchronicities where I'm like,
yeah, I was gonna say that synchronicity,
almost like it was showing where that spirit came from. But again, that's all I could say for certain reasons. But yeah, I've only seen like something twice. And
when I was in college, I wanted to add to that story real quick, man. When I was in college, we rented out this house near the college. It was a shitty kind of house. It was big. It seemed old. It was old for sure. I don't know if it was ghosts or aliens or what, but I remember I had my mattress on the floor. I like to sleep on the floor, I guess, with I couldn't afford a bed, honestly. was trying to make that sound better than it was. So my mattress was on the floor, and I woke up one night in the middle of the night, and there were 6 beings, dark beings, standing around my mattress. And I remember waking up and looking at them, and then I had no choice to fall back asleep. And that freaked me out because it seemed very real, because it wasn't like a dream, because I could see it. You know, it was the place that I was living in. It wasn't like an alteration of it. It was like the actual form. Because, you know, when you dream, you recognize things, but they're always a little bit altered, at least in my experience. But this one was exactly where I was. And I saw these beings around me. There's 6 of them, just dark. And scared shitless. Not going to lie. And then I just went back to sleep. Maybe your boy Hoff here got probed. I hope not.
No, it's just it's interesting. Like, I think it's one of those tests where maybe it's like you see it and it's a test on, do you want it to go away, or do you think it's like something that can give you power? And
I want it to go away. I always want it to go away. I said, go away, ghost. Go away, devil. Go away. Exorcise these demons from my home. You know, I don't want none of this shit. I want my dog here and me, and that's it. It's me and my dog.
Yeah, because that's what happened to Ozzy Osbourne, allegedly. Like how he got the inspiration.
Mr. Crowley.
The inspiration for Black Sabbath, the song Black Sabbath, is that he saw a dark figure at the end of his bed, but then of course he's seeking after it. He's writing a song about it, which praises it and gets people's attention towards it. And then it gives him power, and he keeps going and going until he probably sees some weird stuff. That's probably why he's on coke all the time.
He's snoring ants. Snoring fire ants or some shit, you know? Ozzy's a crazy guy. I saw him live about like 5-6 years ago, man, in Kentucky at a festival. And he came out the first like 4 or 5 songs, dude. His voice sounds like mine right now, hoarse. And then he warmed up, I guess, and the rest of the show was great. But those first 4 or 5 songs are pretty bad, dude.
Yeah.
He's old. He's old. He's snoring a lot of ants, a lot of drugs. I give him the break, you know. I give him the benefit of the doubt. Still.
Yeah, it's interesting reading about some of these stars. But yeah, like the only other thing is like my mom's seen one before where it actually looked like a gray cloak, sort of, you know, just bald thing, black eyes, standing in front of the
what
bed.
I saw was like a big head and kind of just a slim body. It was just 6 of them dark around my mattress, man. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And that's a true story, but I haven't seen much. I've seen a couple things in the sky besides that. So, do you believe in Bigfoot?
No.
I don't either. What about chemtrails?
I'm
glad we got over Bigfoot real quick. Thank you. I didn't want
to talk about it. I do have a video, like if you scroll all the way down, it's called The Truth About Chemtrails, where I think a lot of them are contrails only because of the jet fuel hoax. I believe that what the jet engines are doing is they are taking the air and it's forcing it and compressing it until it turns into a flammable gas at the end, and then it ignites it, where they don't need like 99% probably of the fuel that they say they need. It's literally just compressing the atmosphere and then burning it. Like even by their standards, they say 90% of the thrust comes from just the air being ignited at the end of the afterburner.
That's what she said.
And so what people don't realize is that that's what it's doing to the atmosphere as it goes by. And the atmosphere above isn't like the below. Things don't just blow away really quick.
As above, so below.
Yeah, so I think most of it is contrails, but I do think that in certain circumstances, like on holidays, they will spray something in the air to boost the Wi-Fi, like around like Thanksgiving or Christmas or something, because a lot of people are posting online and using the internet, specifically Wi-Fi, or if they are doing some sort of military thing, they will pre-spray the atmosphere to boost radar. But I think like 90% of the lines we see in the sky are contrails. And I think it's foolish that some of these people are like, you know, when I breathe on a cold day, I don't see a mile-long thing behind me. It's like, yeah, because you're not compressing and igniting air. Like you're not an internal, like you're nothing like a giant turbine. Like, and there's all kinds of things you can look up. I mean, and you're also at ground level. You're not up. Like a lot of times you'll see a lot of trails in the sky at certain when there's a certain weather, when there's a certain humidity, either dry or not. And then like sometimes you'll see just a line form where the sun is. Like it'll form in just a certain spot, and you're like, why did it just form there and then not afterwards? So yeah, that's kind of my opinion on chemtrails, is that if you the majority of them are just contrails, and that sometimes makes people mad for some reason. I don't get it.
No, I get that. I think it's rare that they actually happen, but I do believe in it. You know what I mean? Lowry, what's up, bro?
Yeah, I think that when people get really angry about it, it shows that they actually don't know anything, and that's why they get angry, because they're frustrated that they can't actually defend it. Or all they have is YouTube videos. When I have my own opinion, I look up the jet fuel hoax, and then I put it together, and I'm like, you know what? I think they can use, they could spray stuff for certain reasons, but I think the majority are contrails because of how the atmosphere works, and they ain't even telling you how the atmosphere really works, because it, in my opinion, proves a flat Earth.
Do you believe in the Van Allen radiation belt?
No, I think that's just a made up thing. I do think there is higher energies the higher you go in the atmosphere, but that's about it.
Let me ask you this: do you vote? You don't have to tell me for who. If you, I don't think you vote. I don't think you're a voter.
I don't think votes do anything, but I did vote in 2016 for the first time, unfortunately, you know, for Trump, which made me, once I figured out that he's not
better
who he says he is. The next election, I just voted for the Messiah. I just put, you know, Yeshua in there. And so this year, since I get to vote again against Trump, I'm going to vote for the Messiah twice so it can really cancel out my vote. Because that's all I really want. Like, I don't think votes do anything. I just want to cancel out my vote.
I'm starting to think that too.
I just want to spiritually cancel out my vote for that man, because he's just a liar, and I really, really hate being lied to. So when I figure out somebody's been lying to me, like I take it very personally. It's not like I don't forgive. It's
I mean, like every side's lying to you.
Say what?
Every side is lying to you. All the people.
Well, yeah, but specifically, the first vote I ever cast was for him, and he lied.
Oh, so you're a little bitter. Okay, got that.
Not necessarily bitter, just I'm really against you now. Like, and so that's why I don't even pay attention to Biden, because he's a dementia old man. I don't think he controls anything, and I think he's the scapegoat. And I think Trump actually still controls the country.
I think Obama does. That's weird.
Well, they want
Obama's controlling the country through Biden, because that regime is still in place, and it's like we're going back 2014 now.
But see, this gets even crazier. I think Trump's been controlling things since possibly before the 80s. Because if I told you,
okay, that's what I like to hear. Go. Okay.
If I've told you this before, I think there's this quote.
If I've heard it, let's tell the audience.
There's a quote by Reagan, and I'll put this link in the chat to.
He was funding Star Wars, right?
Well, that's what's interesting, because Star Wars in numerology is 22, and warp speed in numerology is 44. So it's literally Trump signed the thing completing what Reagan started. And when Reagan shook Trump's hand, he was quoted as saying, "I thought I was the one shaking the president's hand."
Oh.
which is very weird to say. So there's this thing
Ronald
called
Reagan, the actor.
Yeah, when he was president, Trump met him and shook his hand, and that was the quote that Reagan said. I felt like I was the one shaking the president's hand. So I think Trump has really been controlling stuff for a long time. That's why he's
crazy, dude. I've never heard that either. That's crazy, dude.
And so there's this thing called
blow my mind right now.
Devolution, where Trump signed this executive order that sounds like he still controls things. And then the whole inauguration, how nobody was there was no audience, and it was all court sectioned off. It might have been pre-recorded. It's very, very weird. So I'm going to put this link in the chat if you want to know. The whole video goes into a bunch of things. I could take an hour and something long. But there's a section when it starts talking about Trump that goes over this executive order that I still keep forgetting to look up because I want to go through the whole thing and eventually maybe do a stream on it. But it sounds like Trump signed this executive order that Biden and Harris and all these people might just be the supervisors that are there while Trump still controls things in the background.
Wow,
it's really crazy.
What do you think? Where's Obama then? Because I feel like Obama really is like a big part of this too.
Well, he's just the same as Biden. He was just there. Hillary.
You think Trump is the overlord?
Well, Hillary basically ran the country.
Is he the Antichrist?
Well, I kind of think Trump is the Antichrist. He's the best candidate. Like, if there's anybody else, it would probably either be Putin or President Xi. But then again, like, it's the personality of Trump, the cult of personality, how long he's been there. You know, Reagan didn't shake Putin or President Xi's hand and say, I thought I was the one shaking the president's hand. Who is this guy? Like, who was he at that time to even say something like that?
That's crazy because we've been talking about all this stuff about like the old books about like the Baron Trump time traveling books and stuff like that, dude. And Donnie Darko and all this stuff, dude. This has been the best stream ever.
Yeah, do you remember the shirt that he was wearing? Where that one scene he's wearing a Triumph shirt. So he's Donald wearing a Triumph shirt, Trump. Because Triumph was changed to Trump in the 16th century. So it's another word for Triumph.
Future?
Yeah, there's
a lot of people think Biff Tannen is like Donald Trump.
Yeah, you know, Biff Tower. Like, yeah, it's really strange.
Dude, I think that's crazy. Blowing my mind right now. Holy shit.
I think that movie is part of why Michael J. Fox has his condition. I think it's a spirit of divination going all haywire all the time.
And by the way, I love Back to the Future. I got the poster up there on my wall by the Rush one. I love this is my favorite trilogy besides the original Star Wars.
Yeah, it's some trippy stuff.
So one last question before we get some celebrities on, all right? And then we're gonna bring on. I know you have. I'm so lucky to have you here because you can basically get anyone you want on here on Hoffcast, and we're gonna do that soon. And the last thing I wanted to ask you about was clones. What do you think about clones?
Well, as I discussed in some of my videos, I don't believe DNA exists. I do believe, though, that what Alex Jones says, that there are these interdimensional beings that are showing these so-called elite, these machines and stuff, and they're building them. Like he claims that the elite believe that they are getting visions from interdimensional beings to build the infrastructure of what is controlling us right now, which isn't government, because government comes from God. This is from a fallen spirit. And they build these superconductors, these nuclear fusion generator things that are doing something. They're not doing what they say they're doing, in my opinion, but they're doing something because they're so elaborate. In the last episode I did, it's called Chapter 24 of the White Rhino Rant. It discusses all of that. So anybody wants to hear my opinions on that, they can watch that video.
Check that out.
But yeah, because
I'm going to be checking it out.
Yeah, because I don't believe in DNA, then I can't believe in GMOs. So I think the majority of what's wrong with our food is that they spray it with pesticides. The food has a natural immune response, and the food's immune response is what depletes it of nutrients. And so that's why growing your own food, not sprayed with any of that stuff, is what you need to do in order to get all the nutrients from it.
So can I ask you something? Since you don't believe in DNA, what do you think these jabs are about the RNA?
Yeah, it's just
you don't have to tell me, are you?
It's just animal blood serum, in my opinion, because that's actually what is mainstream. Every single jab is animal blood serum. And fetal bovine serum, there's an actual market for it, where there's a whole FDA thing on if their cow is pregnant. There's a whole protocol they have to use in order to get the fetus, and then they use it for their stuff, and that's mainstream. And when you introduce a foreign thing,
I love what you're saying there. Keep going.
Well, no, this one doesn't get my stuff struck because it's mainstream. Okay. It's not making stuff up and saying it's a computer system. It's like, because that's actually what people struck, is saying it's like a programmable computer. But it's spiritual, where if you introduce a foreign animal part, in this case, blood in a serum, into your body, it can cause blood clots and an enlarged heart. They claim that when they claim to put a pig heart in someone, which I don't believe is true, but I think they're revealing the fact that when you put animal product into your body like that, it can cause blood clots and myocarditis.
Yeah, dude, and I don't think that trans just comes down to your sexuality. It comes down to transsexual, transhuman, what we're seeing with this, and just a transition overall in society, I think, and that's the inversion, as we've been talking about all night.
Yeah, it's interesting. So I'm a hyper anti-materialist. I try not to call myself a spiritualist because I know there's weird mystic vibes to that, but for lack of a better term, I'm a spiritualist or a hyper anti-materialist.
Well, man, I love having you on, dude, and I will bring you back on as soon as we get some celebrities here. Who do you want to have on for the show?
I don't know.
First person you want to have on, man, because you got a lot of them backstage right now, and they're gonna. I want to have them answer some questions.
Well, I gotta kind of shrink. I'll shrink myself down here so they can come on here. But I think Trump's backstage.
Trump, we got Donald Trump on Hoffcast.
Yeah, here's
we got Donald Trump on Hoffcast.
I'll try to make this look real. Let's see. Hello, Hoffcast, hey. One of my favorite shows, the best show on the internet.
I knew you'd love Hoffcast, Trump. Thank you for being here tonight, man. It's an honor. So what have you been up to lately? I haven't heard much from you. A couple of rallies,
Well, I have the biggest rallies. I try to get everybody to get their boosters and to remind them that it was all my idea. Do not let Sleepy Joe take my glory away. I signed the papers. I made the FDA get it through. It was all me.
So you're very proud of Operation Warp Speed, I'm sure.
Well, of course. It's my baby. I birthed it out of my womb. Don't take that literally. There are some conspiracy theorists that say I'm a woman, but promise me, or I promise you, I just act like one.
I don't think you're a woman. I think you're an alpha male. But at the same time, you seem like you are a cuck for Fauci.
Oh, Dr. Fauci, he's just my scapegoat. When everybody is mad and their children come out with 6 legs, it'll be Fauci and not me who sees the news. So I love Fauci. He's the best, and he's going to take it all for me. He is my messiah.
So are you going to run again in 2024?
Well, because of lawyers, I can't say that now, but I know that Sleepy Joe will not win if I ran because I can stay awake while he's snoring.
Do you think Sleepy Joe will still be alive then?
Well, I don't know which one I'm going to feed to the crowd first, Fauci or Sleepy Joe, so we'll just let fate decide.
Trump, have you ever heard of the SPARS documents?
That is a bunch of conspiracies. Don't look into any of that. It's probably started by the Democrats, and they are always wrong.
Let me ask you, let's see, do you know anything about the Clintons?
All I know is that I have to pretend they're my enemies, or else people won't like me. Other than that, Hillary is a great woman. She has great energy, and I think she's had a hard time, and we should just kind of let her off the hook because she's dealt with so much.
Well, speaking of the Clintons, could you bring Bill on? I was so happy to have you on tonight, Mr.
Oh,
Trump.
sure. I can get him over
Trump.
here. He's
But I'd like to
actually
have Clinton on next, since you guys are in cahoots.
Yeah, actually, he's right underneath my table. Let's see here. This is so
Oh shit! There's Bill Clinton, dude. How's the saxophone going, man?
It's going great. I love being on Hoffcast. It's one of my favorite shows. Whenever I'm hiding from Hillary, I like to put my headphones in and listen to some Hoff.
I didn't think this is the group I'd appeal to, Mr. Clinton, but I'm glad to have you here. How's Monica doing?
She's actually not around anymore because she got too old. So sometimes just for nostalgia, I sniff her dress because I didn't bury it. It's actually in the closet. And I want to tell.
How's Hillary? Go ahead.
I just want to tell everybody in the audience, read my lips. I did not have sexual relations with that cigar. They are pure lies.
Well, I mean, what about the DNA on the dress?
Well, I like your last guest because he don't believe in DNA, so he's a friend of mine.
Right up. So you're innocent, completely innocent, right?
Completely. There's nothing I've ever done that was wrong, except maybe something in Russia, but hopefully they don't have video on that.
So how's Hillary?
Well, she's been very angry lately.
Oh yeah, I imagine.
That's why I gotta hide in the basement and watch a broadcast because she'll find me and she bites. She bites real hard.
I saw Hillary is crying recently. She read her acceptance speech that she was going to read if she would have beat Donald Trump, and she was crying over it. So is she dealing with that okay?
Yeah, it was kind of hard on me because me and Trump are buddies, and it was kind of a big prank. She actually thought she was going to win, and I was in on it. And so that's why I kind of got to hide all the time, because if she finds that out, she'll kill me.
How many times have you been to how many times have you been on the Lolita Express, to the Epstein Island there, St. James?
I'm not at liberty to say.
Well, I think we've counted already, but I was just giving you the chance to say.
Because contrary to what you might hear on The Simpsons, I do not want to spend the remainder of my life sitting naked in a tube. But I kind of do.
So, Mr. Clinton, if there's any celebrity that you could take advantage of right now, who would that be?
Well, actually, now that you say it, there's somebody under my desk right now. Let me bring him on.
Yeah, I was about to ask him. I was about to ask for Alex.
How's it going, Patriots? We're breaking the conditioning. Ah!
Oh, he's raring to go.
Listen, I have a red heart, and it's beating hot blood. This is how we are. This is how humans used to be.
Yeah, that's super male vitality, right? Super male vitality. You got that going on. You ready to go?
Yes, InfoWarsStore.com. That's InfoWarsStore.com. Super male vitality.
Absolutely. I'm about to take some food course right now.
Sorry. I got interdimensional beings jumping in and out of my throat right now. Mercy.
Yeah, I mean, you talk for like 18 hours a day, so I imagine your voice is a little hoarse.
Yes, I'm fighting for your liberties. You better thank me.
So how are the frogs doing? Are they straight again?
The frogs, they've always been gay. Sorry, that's just my subconscious coughing.
I know.
See, listen, I'm gonna give it to you. The frogs are just a ploy. I'm actually gay, and I have to bring up the fluoride in the water and the frogs to hide my own sexuality. And I'm coming out right here on Hoffcast.
That's interesting because I thought you had a wife and kids.
We all have a wife and kids. It's called politics.
So who's your lover? Don Lemon?
No, it's Donald J. Trump. He is the sexiest politician that has ever hit God's green earth. And I'm going to vote for him every 4 years.
I just had him on a minute ago. Holy shit. I wish we could have had you both on at the same time. That would have been freaking awesome. But I've heard you say bad things about Trump, though. I heard you don't really like Trump sometimes. You call him out on the Operation Warp Speed, you know?
That's just when the alcohol is wearing off. And I just take a couple shots, and he's my lover boy once more.
So what's your goal, Alex? What are you trying to do? Like, what's your show all about?
I'm trying to wake up the masses. There's a giant psyop trying to take your brain. And if you take my supplements, then you'll see right through the Illuminati and all these aliens jumping in and out of their ears.
That's true. That's true.
I can actually show you a trick if you want.
Hey, what's your drink of choice, Mr. Jones? What do you like to drink?
Bacardi 151. Straight. And every time I go to Mexico, I get me some Airclear.
Well, thank you so much for being on tonight, Alex. But I think I'm going to have the actual president of the United States on my show here next.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I have a certain power. I can channel and bring spirits back from the dead. You want to see?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, here, I can channel JFK right now.
Oh, no, that's not what I was talking about. But, oh, shit. We got John F. Kennedy.
We promised to go to the moon. We promised to go to the moon before the end of the next decade. Not because it is easy, but because it's retarded.
Hey, are you still alive?
No, my spirit goes around, and
I mean, I know Alex Jones just conjured you, but I mean, your spirit's still alive.
I actually live in all the spiritual airwaves, and I watch Hoffcast. And sometimes my voice sounds strange.
Hoffcast, all these presidents, man, watching Hoffcast is crazy. And so, hey, do you still have a headache?
That's not a good joke, Hoffcast. I'm a little sensitive.
So
that's why I can't stop
telling
people we are going to go to the moon.
Yeah, I know that's what you're going for, but who? So tell me more about the moon, JFK.
Well, the moon, you see, we had to send something up called Lem because that's the name of my very best man friend who is totally not my wife.
So, who shot you down, dude? Lee Harvey Oswald?
I'm not sure. It just kind of hit me. But listen, youngster, I actually can't be here very much long because the ethereal waves will take me back.
Fair enough. If I can, I hope I can get Biden on and then kind of wrap up this stream. That'd be cool.
That's very interesting, Hoff, because he was actually under Alex Jones's desk. Here he is.
Yes. All right. So we're gonna get President Joe Brandon on. Let's go, Brandon. How you doing, Joe? Joey boy.
I'm doing fine. The thing.
Yeah. So what do you think about what do you think about the supply chain issue?
Well, I'm promised to have true international pressure for the supply chain.
Dude, that makes sense. I get that. So I think that is the solution to it. So what do you think about the convoy?
Well, you see, I just they're stopping the the thing from getting to the people, and if the thing doesn't get to the people, then we won't have the bye.
So, hey Brandon, do you still talk to Obama?
Sure, he's the black guy, right?
I mean, allegedly, yeah. You mean he's the president for 8 years?
Oh yeah, that guy. He's pretty sweet. I like visiting him in Kenya or somewhere.
So what do you think about what do you think about your voter base? You know, who votes for you the most?
Well, you know that all those blue guys, you know, the Smurfs or something.
So that's your voter base is the Smurfs?
Sure, or because they're not a China guy.
I mean, they're obviously not on the same kind of they're blue people, you know. So you're trying to pick up votes from blue people, the Smurfs.
Well, you know, blue, green, tangerine. I want them all voting for me because then we could do the thing and go to the place.
Hey, Brandon, did you steal the election?
I'm just here for the ice cream.
Do you like chocolate chip, right?
Double. Cookies and cream because it's easy to remember, I think.
All right, Brandon, I can't have you here much longer, man. I think you're gonna get my channel struck, dude. You're a alleged pederast.
Oh yeah, the thing. Just
what's your favorite smell? What's your favorite flavor of shampoo? Suave, herbal essences. You know what's your favorite?
Pedialyte.
Oh my gosh. I gotta get you out of here, dude. I gotta get you out of here. I need to bring Real Cosmology back on my show.
Well, there's one more guy under here. I don't know who it is though. You want him on?
Bring him on. Sure.
All right.
Oh shit! I don't even recognize this guy. He's an astronaut, NASA guy.
Yes, I'm Don Pettit from Space Station. I'm the guy who popularized our toilet, the one that goes chugga chugga chugga, and it makes our coffee, and it's kind of bitter, but it goes down smooth enough when all you're eating is paste.
What? So you're an astronaut, and all you eat is crap?
Well, see, it goes through the science machine, and after it
Oh.
goes to the chugga chugga part, it turns into coffee. And the CDC actually says it's safe to ingest your own fecal matter as long as it goes through the chugga chugga part.
I've heard that your own urine, you can drink it and you can bathe in it. Is that true as well?
Yes, but technically, because it goes through science, it turns into water, so it's not urine anymore, I think.
Okay, so it's filtrated. So have you been to space?
I've been to space station a lot of times and saw all the clouds and all the lights, and I really like being up on space station because it makes me feel like a little kid.
Well, so what do you think when you're up in space and you see the Earth? What does it look like?
Well, it looks really flat. It looks like a ball with a lot of water on it.
And are you in orbit? Does the gravity keep you in orbit?
Yes, in space station, we are always in orbit, 17,000 miles per hour, if you can believe that. It's amazing. I feel like Superman.
What's the inertia like up there?
Well, I don't feel any in the
Non-existent?
space station, but the the other astronauts say it's because of gravity.
Gravity. Have you experienced any radiation out there?
If I did, I didn't feel it. They say radiation poisoning
Look like
can
it.
cause problems with your brain, but I'm very smart, so that can't be possible.
I see that. I don't mean to insult you, sir. But it looks like your hair is falling off. So
That's normal for people like me. It's just the hair just kind of floats off, and it doesn't grow back because the gravity's not there.
well, hey, so up in space, can you solve all of our problems for us up there? What's it look like looking down on everyone? You know, can you
It makes me kind of feel like God, and I want to be a good God that turns everybody into a machine so we can live forever, because that's what I think good is.
So you believe in God, but you want to be God?
Well, I can't see a God from up here, but then again, the studio lights are in the way, are the sunlight.
So I didn't want you on my stream. I never asked for you. Maybe Biden and Trump. You know, maybe I want those people on there, and Alex Jones. Obviously, I'd love to have him on the stream. But I don't even ask you to be on here. What else do you want to say before you go? Because I want to bring my boy Real Cosmology back on.
Well, just keep giving money to NASA, because if you don't, I don't have a job.
Oh shit! Well, I guess what he's saying is keep going to Target and buying shirts that say NASA on them, right?
Yeah.
Okay, man. Well, keep doing what you're doing. I don't think you're a patriot, but I hope I never see you again.
All right. Now I'm going to teleport to Uranus. Goodbye.
Oh, there we go. Oh, thank goodness. We got someone real back on this show. Oh, did you see all those people here? I'm sorry I kicked you off for a minute, Real. But we just had all these, and they're in your backstage. So, I mean, like, it's kind of your fault, but at the same time, I wanted to talk to them.
Yeah, it's weird how they were just some of them were just all under each other's desks. I don't know what they were doing, but it's a great coincidence. I mean,
a lot of shit happening under desks, I guess. So, hey, man, if there's anything else you want to talk about, you can go ahead. But if not, we'll try to wrap this up because I don't want to keep you too long. We've been on for, what, 3 hours? Dang, 3.5 hours? If not, we'll go backstage. I'm going to have an after party. Let me put the invite in the chat right now, actually, because we'll go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I'll just do one last thing on 5G, I guess, because that's the only thing left in my notes. Where's the picture here? Do I not have
Kyle Jordan Gaming. What's up, bro? He's been a long time watcher of Hoffcast. I love Kyle Jordan Gaming. Lowry says, "Jesus, 3 hours." Yeah, I do long form, Lowry.
Yeah. So basically, what I think about 5G is that most of it's fear porn. A lot of the symptoms are from stress and anxiety. That's why they're supposedly the same symptoms as the beer bug going around. So I connected it, and I haven't seen anybody else do that, but to the chakra chart. Because if you look into it, the G's only go up to 7. They for some reason don't go any higher. And so I see it as like the first G is the first gate. And I don't believe in chakras, but I think that as them being Freemasons and stuff, and a lot of their mystery Babylon stuff, they're always taught to look to the east. And so I think they base a lot of their stuff on Eastern spiritualism. So
I pray to the east. Is that bad?
It doesn't matter.
I always pray to the east.
Well, that would. Well, on a globe, it'd be probably towards Jerusalem, but I mean, we're not on a globe, in my opinion. I mean, if you have to pray in that direction, I would say it might not be good, but it doesn't matter like which direction you pray in.
Okay.
But so this 5G stuff works. Like the first level is basic trust. That's what we're getting in the 60s and stuff, and all the technology. 2G is sexuality and creativity of the 70s and 80s. All full of sexual degeneracy, because a lot of this is the inversion of it. So 3G is actually when we had mobile internet on our phones, and the third gate is wisdom and power. So basically, mobile internet and the internet itself is meant to take away your wisdom and power by giving you all the disinformation. But I mean, it can also be used to get wisdom and power, which again, like if you just focus on God and want to be a good person and meditate, you can figure these things out anyway. And then the fourth one, which if you see the little sign for it, it's the 6-pointed star of Remphan, which is Saturn, Satan, and all kinds of stuff. Has nothing to do with David. And it's love and healing. And 4G was around when Obama was around. And he was all about hope and change. And he sort of was about love and healing, but he was lying to you. And so that was inverted. So the 5G, which this sign is an upside down triangle, which is the divine feminine, which is all over Trump stuff. So Trump is the 5th G, who's going to, in my opinion, initiate the 6th and 7th through the 5th, because 5G is all about communication. That's why they want countries like China being on board and all this, because and that's why they have the masks and stuff. It's covering our mouth because it's actually your throat chakra in their belief. And so it's stifling your breath, it's stifling your voice on the internet, all kinds of things. But then it's a tool so that when the Antichrist makes himself known, whoever he is, I think it's going to be Trump, it's going to be through 5G, because 5G is going to be able to communicate to every point on Earth instantly. And then the 6G is your awareness, which is supposed to be your third eye. So it's your spiritual awareness, really. I think that's going to be taken over by the VR headsets that probably will use 5G for some sort of like live interaction, where it's like a live
time now.
Yeah, and I think that they're going to have like VR codes on TV shows, movies, video games, to where if you have the VR on, it's going to show you more, and that's going to get people to want to put it on because they always want more.
I mean, we're already there, and with the phones in our hands, it's another level, you know.
Yeah, some of them are just putting a phone in a thing, like your smartphone goes in like a slot or something, and so it's all built off our the collective immorality. And then the 7th G is your crown chakra, which is supposed to be outside of your body, really, which I think is what Neuralink is.
Corona.
Yeah, and Elon Musk's Neuralink is literally going to be a device implanted in your forehead, just like the mark of the beast is on your forehead.
I thought it was in the back of the head, but I could be wrong on that. But either way, it's not good. It's not. I'm not defending that.
I think it's going to be the forehead, though, because of how, kind of like how acupuncture works. Sometimes they'll put a needle up here, but that's where I think it's going to be, and it's going to cause your body to be able to spiritually go into the VR and feel things, and that's what's going to make people want things more, because they're going to be so dead through all the technology that the only way they're going to be able to feel is through the technology. And it goes along with the Book of Revelation, where it says to one of the churches to persevere so that you don't lose your crown. Your crown is literally the destination of your soul. It's your whole spirituality. And
what was the crown for Jesus? The crown of thorns.
Yeah. Showing that we gain our eternal life through suffering and the putting away of pleasures, and putting away of self-serving and all that. But they will invert that. It'll be all self-serving and all, me, and you're not even going to care if you have children or anything when you put this thing on. You're just going to be in that world, and your kids can literally be starving around you, and you won't help them because you'll totally be giving your crown and your spirituality to the darkness. And I have a video called "The Truth About 5G," and it discusses these things sort of the same way, but there might be something I'm missing.
Man, do you want to wrap this up, dude? I don't know if I'm overwhelmed at this point with information, so I don't know if I can take much more. I need to digest some of this. Is there anything else you want to say? Because if not, we'll wrap this up. We'll go backstage, have the after party.
Yeah, just if you want to find everything I'm on, the best thing to do is
I'll plug your stuff. Yes.
Yeah, either go just to Real Cosmology YouTube or to the Telegram link that I put in there a few times.
Let me see here. The Real Cosmology YouTube right here. Go to that. If you subscribe to the guy, you're gonna learn way more from him than from me.
Yeah, if you go to the homepage too, it has links on the top to the other YouTube pages and to, I think, Telegram and Instagram.
Lowry says, "Where are all the white women at?" Well, I'm right here, baby. Lowry, I'm so glad you're here, man. I love you, dude. You're that video that you did of you playing live with the music, dude. That was like very high quality. It was good stuff. So good, man. And the song was great too. First and foremost, the song was awesome. So, you plugged your stuff. I'm gonna plug Hoffcast real quick here before we head off, and we'll go backstage. If anyone wants to come by, I'm going to put the link in the chat once again. If anyone wants to come by backstage and hang out, Lowry, please come by, dude. Please do, if you want to.
I'll just put my end promo up as you end it.
And everyone else as well. Everyone's welcome. I have so many spots, but Barbara says Lowry OnlyFans. I'd sub to that. No homeowners. But yeah, real cosmology, go to his stuff. I'm gonna put all of his information in the description, the about under here after tomorrow.
Dang, Lisween's already dropping the links in the private chat.
Oh shit. Yeah, we should probably get back there. But last thing here, I want to share once again. Hoffcast.com, baby. Go to Hoffcast.com. That's where you can find my streams. Hoff Direct right here. And you'll know where to find us because we're coming. We're coming for you. So, any last words, man? We're going to go backstage.
Just study the Bible and study history, and you'll understand everything.
Nice. I want to thank all you bosses here tonight for joining in. Let me try to go through the chat a little bit. We got, we got Shane, we got Hive, we got Mitz, we got Barb, we got Lowry. So many good people. I'm sorry if I'm missing you. I'm just scrolling through right now. So the chat was lighting up like a Christmas tree. Nick, Nick Bua.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. Wow, what a great stream tonight. And I want to thank you, Real Cosmology, for being here tonight. It was so much fun, man. It was so much fun. And the biggest Hoffcast stream of all time. And I can thank you for that, I guess, because I don't get this many watchers. So thank you so much, man. I hope you had a good time. Let's go backstage. I want to say, all you bosses, I love you. I'll see you on Tuesday, 8:30 p.m. Hoff signing off. Follow Real Cosmology.